to find these days, enhances the flavor. You know your wine's Jim Human, he scrolled. You're great company for being dead. Do you have any phone batteries from the future? This Nokia flagship Erebus from 2200 will last you a long time. It is a flip phone yet a smartphone. He opened the phone with dead fingers obsessed, kingly opulent. See, the flip phone is back. James exchanged batteries like a genius inventor. Suck on this laudanum water pipe, harmless from 2100, if you can handle the effects. James sucked down the misty pink haze and felt dissolutional, floating on the sea. He felt dead, lost merging with things like the earth like a plant. You don't need friends when you have this pink laudanum. I saw the inventor of the disco ball invent the party elemental in another life, said a paladin-looking white long-haired and stout, heavy black armor straight up to his chin, two-handed flail thick as an atlas stone. I can call you on this number, it might be the end of times, it might be worth your time. An army that can't be cut is handy. I am not completely spirit. We are forever chased by death as a spirit and his timeless cousin golden unworthy silence, giant breath that calls you from the center of light, what mortal could escape? They respected him enough to see his heartbeat crunch munchily, he was safe from predator staring, broken promises for ego and aggression evil. A poison botanist that gardens iron thorns got their attention dead through his thick waist and assertiveness. Try something defying from my garden, a green potion that will speed you up 2 times and your mind thrice, manipulate your opponent in fogs of black anguish. Goodbye, respect to those that can challenge the immortal dead. You'd be surprised at the list of enemies already vanquished, said James at this part of the book. If you enter hell I want something from Satan, he whispered and coiled, then whispered plot like Greek. Only thing I want to do is explore heaven's desolate south pole, crossing bridges in the sky while it is still hot, walking on the clouds of Ganymede. Back thinking of going back to the Solga University, they tried another blackguard restaurant. This time it was a vegetarian, more Indian food looking place. They got the flavor with cheese and spices, they ate like front teeth horses but left feeling light. Cheese is the vegetarian trick to compete with meat and it is just as unhealthy. Goddamn, that was some solid vegetarian Indian food, solid like a kidney stone. Fate pulls me to naan bread baking. I find myself saying this expression too, maybe I should bake naan bread at least. They found something black dwarves did excellent, siege weapons and artillery. They asked and got to learn a lot about their ballistas and trebuchet, pouring magical hot oil on enemies while they were sieging below a castle, to fortify and bombard with black powder, artillery too, dwarven culverins. And dropping fist-shaped stones on enemies sieging under. James took one course of butt magic that only required you to go to elven restaurants. While they were eating beans and burritos, empanadas and cheese they were taught, your butt is the strongest muscle, your butt is power and the fatter or muscular you are usually the better. If your muscles are genetically strong you have potential to use your ass. The strongest butt wizards are indeed physical marvels. James put use in remembering the butt technique deafen, a deafening flatulence that silenced magic and removed hearing for 5 minutes. In the arrogant fire magic courses too they were learning to detonate surfaces. Some were easy, others like living things or stone didn't like getting ignited. Again James showed a lot of promise making the second biggest stone balloon before it detonated. Mana and life leech might be useful, but you could not attack while doing it, but James envisioned sometimes it might be the only thing you can do. Trying to go on the next adventure with Arnaud in the sandy furnace of desolation that would take them somewhere else, they came across an expensive curiosity shop, Martin Twat stolen, lost and found. James could not buy many totems of silver, voodoo tablets and skulls with candles before his money would run out. You're not questionable enough to shop here, you look like a tit. You don't have to spell it out. What's that? It's a key you put into your keychain. It was black and smoking, looked like a pillar of agonizing victims. Do you know where it leads, stranger? He said, like knowing this would be punishing. No, these planes get stranger wherever we go, needless to say. I won't come here again, and you won't ever see it again. If you thought desolation was hot, he spoke of cunning being skinny and dry. 4,000 quid to tickle your adventure. Don't you want to access another plane? I'll buy it from you if you decrease the price. Who do you think is going to buy it for 4,000? Do you know what this cost me? The bent-over man talked like a mystic victim of great adventures. Do you know what it cost me to get out? Bending forwards, magic stopped hiding scars, small horns and a completely white, dead eye. No, but I'll emphasize. 3,000 quid then, you better buy it. I'll be rid of this like a curse of peons and poets, the constipated and damned. It's from Ihenger, done deal thus, James smiled knowing he beget the deal. What is unknown and worth so much? Don't throw it all away, proclaimed Arnaud. Everyone knows a celebrity shouldn't burn all his new winnings on vehicles. We'll see, Arnaud. Activating the key, they disappeared through the shop floor and entered in what seemed a rabbit hole of strange furniture and animals and abstract paintings, but you wanted to follow it through and make it logical. Falling, eventually things sped up and it got hotter and brighter so fast it was agonizing. They had to balance on rays of dark-colored sunlight. With a cosmic-like shard skateboard, there came different sunlight beams. They jumped sideways and grinded, arduously upwards through sunlight of every shape, sometimes falling 30 meters to hit a tiny beam below. There were lava streams on the sides and a bright light started emanating from inside them, like menopause. Just when they thought the fire would tear apart and destroy and the destination was being reached, they exited on a hellscape. Chapter 5. South of Heaven. "Where did we go?" said the bunny. He noses and went on his hind legs like a meerkat. They were on a lava floating, but mostly black rock in a black hellscape, smoky red horizon with no sun. It smelled burnt and of sulfur. "Did we go to hell?" "I thought this was Florida. Look, there's an alligator." "Gosh, why would we end up in a place like this?" They found a party next to a giant French-looking giant gate, or castle looking next to a bridge. There were multiple giant gates leading into teleports or deeper underground. "Ah, a new recruit," said a hero-looking blonde with golden armor, hair, muscular over fat, truthful duty, wide should-we plates and double chin. It felt like he was neither gearing for what they're going to face or not, like sexy steel bikini armor. "Welcome to hell, the lowest level of the elevator. We can't get out, can we?" "Ah no, considered an escape and acceptance like entering into a grey world." "No, well, really, as long as you have a keychain and you're not dead, you can teleport out here at the gates of limbo. Here are the men that knew no justice nor righteousness. They had no mercy and cowardly in adversary," he continued. "There's religion and hell. What's the bloody right religion then?" Arno said, losing his previous conceptions. "They don't tell you. You're supposed to live religiously as a disciple and stop your wicked ways. That's the safest best, I think. That holds up. Because further down in the 9 circles of hell it takes a lot to get to." Another party member, an elite elf with a wild beast bow, stag horns, white blank eyes and a belt of monster slayer bombs of every kind, said, "We are not omnipotent. The best judge for your sins is your own consciousness and heart. If you do not think things you've done are so bad and you motivate with pure of heart and heart of the cards, they're not maybe.
Farming.
Wickedness gets you a long way here, not being lesbian or having honored the wrong details to worship." The hero continued, "Did you not know? Heaven and hell is at war again for the last time. All planes will be affected as good wins over evil. Hopefully, Satan is cleverly coming up with ways to influence heaven and hide many abysmal weapons, mythical and forgotten. He's corrupting everything he touches, hidden, disguised as people you won't expect, many. We are going to raid hell at this time, swipe the contraptions, riches and weapons, defeat Satan, make our own powerful reign on Einhanger. We'll delve in the irony of sin for undeserving men. We'll see what happens." An elven priest conservative with battle robes. "There is supposed to be more ways for redemption here. Although the test not obvious, you're only supposed to be punished so far. Eternal hell is not for every soul." The spirit of a tortured soul appeared white, shorter and gleaming. You could see mechanical wings. "She's right, you know. This is a corrupted place. Maybe I have a chance to return, reincarnated with memory swept. I hope I don't sin again." Death in black swirls appeared with hollow hood and scythe and 26-inch grey arms. Priestess heaped to the energy of the stare, most black and hollow. His energy was of an ESFJ, a feeler yet hidden behind layers analyzing non-sympathy. There was a depth you had never felt, yet you know it was death because at some point someone had talked about him. "I didn't know death lifted heavy weight," said James. "I have sensed you as my friend suicidal. I have business with Satan. James, you have never been near death unless in a fight. I am not completely spirit, I need to work out. Bony arms does not swing a scythe. You are so stupid in depression with your fate and indignation potential. Stop thinking about pills, get rid of the sleeping pills, you don't need them. You can also choose to die forever here, never to live again, never to be tortured again eventually. Don't choose it, it's literally surrendering your soul to Satan. We keep giving awards to people for their stupidest, conscious deaths and put it on YouTube, named after a biologist, Darwin, the Darwin Awards. I know these death worshippers. It's funny, like that guy who was selling skyscraper glass. He charged into the glass with all he physically had. Indeed, it was indestructible, but the glass popped out of frame and he fell down with his pitch. I am thus counting everyone who gets crushed by a piano. Death pulled a scrawny scroll, he make across marks with a finger. I heard about a German who pushed an industrial leaf blower up his ass with his friends, edging him. I remember a pair who had an alligator or hippo as a pet. After 20 years it ate them. It was pretty funny to be called. I remember the better. 20 years is a decently long time, said Arnaud. If Satan takes over heaven, there will be hellspawn and smoldering hellscape everywhere, and people will be unable to choose between right and wrong, confused and sedated to choose non-compassion, scared to counter evil people. Every good person will be dead, then stillborn, a feast for flies. We can convince Satan to renounce his throne, give him power and territory somewhere else, but there are 13 family members related to Satan who will have to be convinced as well, or they can take over his reign. Good enough to progress, maybe. Grandfather of hell is not a good idea. Maybe we should aim for this, said James. If hell is ruled by a weaker sister, maybe things will stay under the lid. It was time for him to use his whole brain and heart. And he stored a good amount of lethal lava land leaf as well, enough to smoke like a wise wizard every lunch. You raiders should consider forcing him to renounce with force, said Death. I might help. Dying feels like walking faint in a world of shadows. You have high cholesterol, French Arnaud guy, keep smoking. Arnaud threw his primitive cigarette away. What I'm really feeling is how close you are to a heart attack, said Death. It feels like hot arguments, like with high blood pressure. I can feel it too, said James. All through I am conservative like Burke, I fill my role, don't let it enter your mind to try and kill me, James. Death said psychically. James' instincts were flaring, that was very specific. He's giving it away, but what would I gain from killing Death? He knows about the gleaming unholy strike. James kept pondering this as everyone talked in a circle around him. The hero continued, all food in hell is at least 5,000 Scoville, tastier things might turn into ash in your mouth. The coffee is burnt even for tenants. There's only variants of 2 hot chili as a spice and black pepper. Thus there are baths but the water is boiling. Satan appeared disguised as a 4 meter black spiked demon, like a spiritual version, communicating like a telephone. Once I hear something I can't forget it, I can't help it. It's Satan, said Priestess. What are you lot doing here? He said, rather difficult, absorbing everything, bask in the glorious first steps. Your gambit with heaven will lose everything to us, said the hero, brave indeed. You can't descend past the fallen angel yet breach our castle at the edge of the abyss. Nice tricks of the mind, Satan, said James. Twice the pride, double the velocity, I smash you through the wall. It's true, you are chanceless against me as well. I have skewered giants like arrogant boors and adventurers with the latest brave tricks, weapons of blinding light and mental crushing betrayal. Righteous people I have smashed through unconscious, laying on their back in brave armor, swords adjacent. My kin is loyal, might play your role but report to me like successor of demon. Find your place on my corrupted court instead. Go all the way in sin, believe in yourself not God or religion, commit every sin. James realized now Satan was an ENTP personality type, a real devil's advocate. Maybe he wasn't much of a thinker unless monologuing what you need to do to sin, join him and how the light is wrong. Like an accountant, James could have read about him being an ENTP, but now he had the source material, the relationship was magnetic. What is buried may never surface. Satan disappeared in a black swirl feet first. The elf priest said, here in Limbo, the first circle, you can find lots of petty things taken too far, in arguments, bad decisions after lovers leave, suicides and good people making some bad decisions. I feel tired, hungry, hot and thirsty, said Spartacus. You're always hungry and thirsty in hell, said the hero. Don't ignore it, if you have muscle or fat they will wither. Everything is on a timer for the living. You think your mind breaking will be fine, losing common laughter and joy, tripping brain, you will recover slowly. A timer to ignore, to spend your ambition too late. So if we don't delve too deep, don't be too greedy and vocacious. James said, I know what can break a castle siege, black dwarf artillery, I'll be back double quick. I'm not going to sit around waiting, I'll join you, said Arnaud, deciding intelligently in the moment. James came back stocked on food and drink and mana potions. Arnaud pushed 2 black dwarf bombards and scrolls of ushering in more artillery at the right moment, grand expense.
I wanna keep eating stuff and I can. I got some fruit. I got some apricots, which is fun to eat dry, but they're alright in regular fruit form too. You know, like regular fruit. And some flat peaches, Paraguayos. Can I get a yes? Bug it. Boom, 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 boom. maybe I absorb the taste from the gymnastics shoes in my bag. No, I'm kidding.
Arnaud pushed 2 black dwarf bombards and scrolls of ushing in more artillery at the right moment, grand expensive teleports. I also brought Wizard Yensid. A BUTT magician is never late, he is just interrupting, Yensid said like a hero, hands on hips, elbows out. We waited for you for 60 minutes. And now I'm waiting on you, keep up. That is the slayer of the Bloodgods, said Arnaud unexpectedly, never gazed upon the grandeur. I don't believe anything like that, is he pointing at you, Yensid? There is something you don't know about me. I met a plane and species them so hungry and devoid. Insect men, if they had expanded another 10 years they would have killed us all, and then the next plane. So I farted changing their magnetic field, they all died horribly. I had to drop out at the clouds 4,000 meters on Einhinger, but I double jumped at the end, I'm fine. What's those stairs into clouds over there? I don't know, I don't live here, he said stupidly. James and Arnaud went up green-grey beautiful stairs, it felt like elevating. There was a beefy, very fully clad soldier with a 2-handed winged sword coming down, winged helmet up like knives, chest muscles giant and symmetrical through the plate. He looked indomitable and focused on the task, thus ignoring them. HMPF. They gathered steps into the clouds, into a golden white fortress. It was like songs of ancient battle, details carved like endless time, into plate and pillar, intelligence in a better place. They felt light and forgetting their worries, having to readjust later. We're busy deploying troops, said a similar knight, no winged helm. How are you doing? Wow, we walked up a lot of stairs, I feel dizzy. This is the last outpost haven, before the step of hell. We're going to raid hell, maybe you won't push us out the door then. No, I might mention this to Archangel Ariel, how my wings are really coarse behind this plate body splendor. There is respite, soldiers. There was an armory, the armor was heavier and legendary, detailed and ancient, a story of art on each plate body. There was a golden white library with thick history books and stories of struggle, or just a very large row of bookshelves to your south entering. There were winged warriors, in the helms, swords, etc. sitting over their swords, contemplating, preparing for fate. In the camp they had winged cavalry, jousting horsemen with lance of the sun. They could shift into pure sunlight to go through the enemy, no damage in corporeal forms. They met the incorporeal heaven emotionally distant corps corporal. For being a general he was compassionate, thinking and didn't just think about chain of command. He looked like a hardest square general though. It all comes down to this, we have light elementals spawned through blissful deeds of the righteous. They can absorb the energy and years from an enemy, then blind them and stun them, burning eyes, the blind last longer. The regular and nemesis griffins dropping bombs are intelligent, they are birds. The golden-plated wide-helmed arbalist shot through every enemy, dangerous like worry. They were protected by the golden sentinels, stoic and plated like heaven's promise. Barbed giant spears and absorbing melee and ranged attacks. If you got close to the golden arbalist, they always got a hit in. Out came a supreme seraph, an armored 4 meters archangel behind white robes beneath. Robes showing about 30%. He had 2 two-handed swords, one the legendary patriarch, fiery great sword as good-looking as they come, and a phase blade, the grandfather. They actually increased his defense and magical shields thus. Demons have a hard time to fight around an archangel. His aura and holy light protects units from smoldering fire, magic and darkness. In the halls of the opulent, grand to-roof haven they found god Bacchus, god of winemaking, epiphany, festivity and theater. They decided to drink with the angels and had a terrific time, surprisingly in energy elevated, forced into things it felt like, sometimes, it required more energy. I'm really enjoying the new cultivating and purple teal plants from the Delicacy Islands. I could keep working there more than anything else for you guys. I feel like there is meaning, and I'm content with the hours. We must provide for ourselves like there is no God, sitting in his elevated Greek opera lawyer hall and deciding our charity. Isn't there God, gods in other planes and worshipping of places sure to change? Arnaud said to himself, is this really real? You have come here for help. I'm sure you need it in your midst, said an angel brown-haired, curled twice at his temple and chest plate without arms. You're not going to hell or anything. Your story has not been in vain. Know the embrace of the angels and the fruit of your progress. You have a strong heart. I know you can do it. Your path lies before you and can be read with a few paths. James woke up later in a purple and white pillow infestation with pink mantle. He seemed to be drunk still, or afflicted. There seemed to be someone looking down at him like holy. Light blinded him at her sides and above. Wake, handsome man, I know of your deeds. They told me everything. Her voice was deep and echoing, like allowing herself to be unwomanly brusque. Hello, woman of heavenly confusion, and why did I change clothes? Now in Greek manly dress, how would he get out of this one? 3 meters, she seemed rectangular, plain and overweight except a pink-white mantle of clouds, and she was clothed Greek, had yellow rings in her horns on the sides like a demon. They were carved and like elephant tusks, but there seemed to be divine and worship around her, definitely a good deity. James thought of lines of worship and would hurry up. You are like a Greek Olympian cast now, maybe you would fit in anvil throwing and discourse. Are you a challenger? Of course I am a challenger of Olympics, and in wheelchair sports I am a prodigy. I am sexy with legs not moving, sitting around for my might and arms. You don't need legs for every sport. I could just push you along, cute giggle asterisk. To prove everything for everyone all the time just spends a lot of time. James decided to be complimenting and worshipping, or kind. You are eternal in your mind and pink Lordunum landscape. I love a toy with righteous plight, a landscaper with intent. She was enthralling and dreamy. Another voice in his head said, I'm going to screw a giant lady. I have seen you in my dreams, maybe, something pulling me the right way. Surely I would end up here, seems just about time. Have you always looked like this? Your shape is fair and I can see your eyes. My eyes are a mystery like the clouds we look at with spiritual scope, or planets in a ring. I see some things in purple mystery and paths we go in lives. If you do not make too many sudden moves, some things I do not see. It was time to be deep in Seers of Mirrored Moons and allow her to be excellent, now that she decided to show it off. What is my purpose here? You came here.
It's great.
What is my purpose in this very visit? I snatched you. She came closer, snared him with her body, then being adjacent with her body resting on her elbow. She looked so interested, yet it was time to not say anything stupid. She started cuddling and treated him as a plaything. In this way and duration it felt heavenly. You dare use your fingers like inspecting. I am a fierce warrior. I am sure I can handle any sword or lightning bolt you can wield. She cuddled him dramatically and enjoyed herself feeling his muscles, comparing him. What could he do? We will find a place for you, young one. Her voice was like hairspray and considering physical cohesiveness. They were reminded before leaving. We will come with you, but our general are poor to time strikes right now. Ugh, he is the general posthumous, always arriving when the battle is over. He's not too blunt in tactics, strategy, really. He is out of time and almost forgotten. He has a brother which is a demon and they face off in hell, oblivious. Can we rely on him? Surely. Resist hamster potion, when would we need that? Down long stairs. I'll slow my metabolism down to stop withering. The party entered the gate and over a 100-meter bridge, true river of fire. Jesus Christ, what is that mass? It's a river of swarming accountants next to the fire, must be thousands. They swarmed in blue-collar shirts, conservative correction and anguish in a river through the fire. Abyssal accountants. The certainty of accountancy, potency and accuracy. It is inescapable. You sound like you admire them. I fear them. I was being poetic. Don't move. The accountant's vision is based on movement. Don't encourage them. They'll come back in greater numbers. The night is dark and full of accountants. The river of unrelenting accountants led to a giant courtroom. They were punted inside by zigzagging paths, having a clear vision enough. Inside stood a 7-meter giant blind with vertical slits for nose and eyes, crown of knives, gavel in his left hand and sword in the other. Grey, withered and cut flesh, he had smouldering wings. There were regal empty chairs seeming for giants, mirrors of smoke and just smoke creating a room. About half of the remaining enclosing was rising seats. Behind him they saw a Scottish accountant with gaping zombie content and malice, walking on his hands and legs. He defiled a close-by accountant, climbed over him. Our, and bile year he, go away and stop bothering me. They shut the door behind them and he didn't really comprehend the problem. Life is Scottish, why should the afterlife be any different? He screamed at the door, it preventing him from chasing after them. Court session is in order. A poor soul stood next to a podium in the middle. Imps were laughing disassociated and pale souls and ghosts sat in the rising seats. Please, I never did anything illegal for my company. I just needed to keep the company alive. So many people depended on me. Mortgages. I am reasonable and good, fair to my allies and not greedy. I do not have eyes, but it allows me to smell your lie. You did illegal laundering for years, paying taxes when you could afford. People tell a different story about, in hell. You killed Christina Stewart, you used every power, pushed her into a dwarven woodchucker so she would not uncover your smelly corporation. Fourth circle of hell, he said ultimately. What do we have here? A party of alive sinners. I am Ouroboros, the judge into hell. Pray I don't smell your lie. What? We. 2 murderers here and 2 glutton, Arno and James. Ouroboros took a long pause, then said surprisingly nice. Killing people is seriously bad, guys. Who are you to decide if someone lives or dies? Remember not to be cold-hearted. You are only a proper fair judge until you meet someone stronger. This going to go wrong for you sooner or later. I don't mind waiting. My revenge is sweet, justice unescapable. I shall go easy on you as you're alive. Gluttony isn't really that bad. What am I supposed to do, make you lose all the fat? Bodybuilders are the second biggest gluttons. Did you really think you needed 10,000 calories per day? Looking at YouTube videos from people viewing steak as medicine. Look where I got for my sins. I thought I was in the final lap of winning, running away from everything the fastest. I didn't know my savory lies could only take me so far. I know yours through competence and intuition, eternal third black eye. Ouroboros. If you work in hell it must be punishment enough, said James conversationally. There is still alcohol and haggis pie for my services, he said abruptly. Look Ouroboros, we want to enter hell alive and cause havoc, abrupt Satan, benefiting heaven. I remember heaven, maybe I can still visit my family someday. My burnt wings are that of a fallen angel, but you want to enter hell willingly. Seriously, hilarious, I will grant you passage thus. I try to get people into hell, you know, sniff anyway. And I'll keep the gates open if you return. If you are alive you can choose to help souls absolve their sins or punish them. They all lie, but be a good judge. You can't put the wrong man into eternal hell. Here we see the value of true regret. Obviously don't fake regret, idiots, understand what you have done, feel the victim's emotion. They went until the magical elevator of hell. It looked like a demon, covered in skulls, tentacles, red and purple living mass. Always late and got to floors randomly, gets stuck to fool you and you feel sickening if you fear elevators. It would stop 3 times stuck yet with intent. It played death metal, drag me to hell by aborted. ARRG make it stop, why is he growling? This is a jam, seriously, said James and Arno. There was a red button in the middle, if you pressed the elevator would snap the cables and you would crash down. Magically it got wider for the whole party and opened glass windows so they could see souls agonizing. There's so many people here. There is every toil, trick and tainted hook. Into the circle of greed and religious misuse. Priestess, here lies those that did everything wrong and then said in the name of God. In fear, hate and negative religion. 4 generations of crusaders lie here, toiling in work and hate, they died for nothing. Christianity didn't do anything holy in those lands, nor were their sins actually vanquished by the artifacts and priests. Those that killed and tortured homosexuals, zealot and frantic. It was the kings who wrote in the Bible not to love a man, not Jesus. God acknowledges almost every animal species have gay thoughts and urges. Funny how it doesn't produce any children through 2 gay men want to share their genes. End my misery here, said a faint soul and body, and take my amulets of gold. I seek it no longer. Another said similarly, I earned maximum dollar slowly poisoning my city, my people. I look the other way and thus the blood money I cannot spend. You will spend it better. I think Janus, god of wealth and greed, will trick us. Don't accept any offerings of gold. They came to a boiling gold pit with paths of gold like in a garden, a field of cultivating money trees. Here are those who cannot resist shining gold even in hell, who are nothing without capital and power. They will be lost and fall in again. James breathed frost over the gold pit and cut himself some gold ingots. Here's treasure 101, anyone want an ingot? James, this is cursed capitalist flowing gold. It cannot be worked. Like mercury gold, it will zip into your brain and hurt you like eternal sin absolution. It will appear as your greatest sin. The hellspawn fight with golden weapons here, said Priestess. Benefits of working on this plane, they also get insurances by the accountants. They saw a red goblin man pour molten gold into the throat of a man, torturing him. He fell on the ground sideways and sounded like an ingot, immovable. Poor soul, saith Priestess. She was a priest used to combat, shooing away desecrating Ihenger delinquents and gargoyles, protecting religious resolution and chalices by forgetful priest men. She was dressed warm in white, necklaces of religious protection, staff with blue gem and wings. This was one of the greediest religious French men. He absolved sins based on their income, worked to make the Church of France rich, materialistic. For years the Church grew in power and riches like privilege. He has led a rich life, not a religious one. The goblinman with hooves spoke evil, but true enough. He played powerful like a politician and made laws unreligious. His power grew for power. The poorest simple man can have the most righteous soul. Spartacus went to try and comfort the soul, but he didn't move. They had to cross a swamp that was mostly black and boiling. Boiling arms reached and grabbed them with the force of obsession. Some skeletal and black skeletons. In the middle of the swamp was rocks with veins of flowing gold poured 15 meters high. Gold flowing like blood, I shall return. James. Here the greedy and powerful sit at the top, but with the sinners at the bottom, said Arnaud. It's still the same. Hell shouldn't be corrupted, it is the most solid in torturing conservatism. Our extra hairy smaller Minotaur and rhino-faced 3 meters muscle monster pondered the swamp, golden armor, pristine jagged sword and spiked mace upsetting. They didn't seem like they minded protecting in routine, the sentinel being with its duty. James swished with speed technique, dodged every slow attack, pushed him back in a swing with palm absolute unit. Parried 4 blows in a combo and then cut the Minotaur from kidney to shoulder. The bull sounded like a demon and went down evil and maybe a hint of privilege. Arnaud was powering up for a one-shot. Brick density, denser than Kanye West. He smashed through the rhino with his brick. A rupture of power was like metallic errors and one rupture delayed. He might as well gotten hit by a bus. This is full gold armor, thanks Circle of Greed, let's keep this. James. At the end of the swamp the ground flickered red. The dead and boiling came up the swamp, agonizing and slow they obeyed attack. Security Chief Esam, not necessarily streamer, has been alerted of your presence. A hooved human goat with pitchfork, miner's beard, skinny but large belly and curve-horned 3 laps stood and worried with an extra large underbite. You really think you can attack hell? There are rules here, standards, bylaws, you have cut me in for the share at least. He spoke with a lightweight nerd voice sounding foreign. How much? Said James. 40% to betray Satan, I'm on his good side. Beguiling and awful. No way, said James. It's not a price for everyone. A red gem on his pitchfork emanated red mist as the dead flew like projectiles unto James. Corpse explosion. The bodies exploded splattering blood and liver, kidneys. James had protected himself in elemental spirit, the blood shaman. At least it wasn't horse explosion, said Arnaud. James slashed and executed strikes wise, but the pitchfork could have been made of diamond. James did Stylo's arcane martial arts, kicks, deadly chops, combos and thundering knees breaking his stupid defense intelligently like he was weak. Esam stabbed with strength deserved for nightmares and certainty of hell. James made a 5-inch punch to knock him out, but Esam got up clasping his head sturdy and confused. James cut him 8 times in a white mist and everlasting rays from slicing gleaming tornado. Steroid hurricane. Esam got critically hit and his eyes whitened finally. He fell to the floor painted in blood. Yensid froze the swamp ledges masterfully and farted an ice spear into coming green undead. Okay, that's it, let's go. A pitchfork was thrown into the back of James. It hurt like a gym machine breaking. The security of Esam doesn't give up that easily. Second wind bloodied Esam conjured another pitchfork with black magic and 2 beside him attacking next to him. Brilliantly Esam deflected a colossus hit from James, then another to the left. Esam tanked the hits like he was a superhuman. They clashed like giants until James went. The difference is too big. Goodbye, go down giant. Sheer anger of the gods. James crushed his insides with an implosion punch and broke his armor like church glass. His eyes whitened and he went to his knees then fell face first. Another golden minotaur awaited them entering the gates to another section. Guards. Rear driving BMW parking, asphyxiate. Jens had started flying around in the air ass first like he was pulled by a rope then hit the minotaur in the face with his ass robes. The minotaur hit by dim ass Mac parking so bad he instantly died. We have a wizard amongst us, said the hero. Among us. Praised be the heavens, said elf priestess. They had to climb sides of red mountains and slide down rugged mountain foot. They met many monsters with expensive weapons. They actually found diamond rings improving regeneration and sunburn. James had room on his hand thus. They crossed black hellscape with black plants and red-yellow fruits spouting lava. There was a 1 decimeter black bird with a round face that was completely round. They had to cross a volcano, climbing about up to halfway sideways. They had the fields of despair, the infinite grills, heating up hell to sufficient or extra temperatures. They laid in brackets, laid in grids, laid in municipality. There were toiling wildebeest-headed sulky hunchbacks, carrying the tools over their shoulders. This place wasn't fire red, but cooled rock. It was black and steamy, porous paint and black wind. They would carry on until they entered the molten lower levels. The pace was arduous. They could have stared into the center of death. Right more fields gathering energy from souls agonizing in the spirit and will of a civilization, the direction, like in politics. Chapter, Silence of the Baguettes. Enter Circle of Lust and Accounting. The door had perfect male buttocks you had to open with, real square gym buttocks wide like wide shoulders. Accounting, said Arnaud. Priestess, accounting is a precise work. They think no one is watching over the boring numbers, but if you get any wrong you go punished to hell. Someone has to keep to a standard. Here the sarcasm about the work fills the halls. Meticulous swarming noise, certainty of precision. A tall, thick goth chick with a large purple wizard's hat and suspicious...
These three sequences, the funnest part of the book. It's the first one.
A tall, thick goth chick with a large purple wizard's hat and suspicious gigantic breasts came soft-spoken to the party. Hey guys, I'm living too. I got lost with my party, can you help me? This place was not what we thought for our party and the demons keep gaining in power. Yeah sure, we're big huggers in this party, you're welcome. Ah no. Ah how cute, she hugged Arno and kissed him on the cheek. I see through her lies, James thought with a nerd voice. They came unto a door with a stone face that said, to go further in hell one has to be sacrificed, the weakest link, the cowardly, the lightweight, the extra weight. In the middle stood a 1x2 diameter deep coffee grinder hull with handcrafted black wooden handle. It's basically just a mixer. Drink the weakest link, it's a bloody tradition. One has to be sacrificed guys, we can't end our quest here. We can't sacrifice anyone, said the priestess. We're gonna talk about this right, said Arno. James took the goth chick, walked confidently and threw her head first into the grinder like the lightest javelin. The mixer spun quick, making Italian and high-speed sounds. W-R. Sometimes, that's how life goes. It's obvious, she's a mirage of the circle of lust, said James. Otherwise she would not be interested in us. The grinder seemed to hit bone and made some crunching noises, struggling, speeding up to max afterwards. James, I don't think she was a mirage. Priestess. Oh well, what's another sacrifice, said Arno. Her black high heels flew and hit Arno in the face, knocking him to the floor. The group carried on more casually and realistic. A real goth wouldn't mind getting turned into coffee. The grinder raised a bit above the ground and tried adding milk and cream. Damn, said the hole in the wall, we're out of milk again. Some of the party, including James, drank the goth cappuccino to restore vitality. It tasted like sugary depression. He drank like an office collar at work, considering responsibility. Stoneface said, here we see the chamber of cheating, one of the most common regrets they say. Cheating done for no reason, with handsome celebrities, for money or revenge. For those that waited a short time or forever. Here's one of Satan hell favorites, those that proclaim to love their wife then plough their goat, cross-eyed outside. They ought to try a succubus. Scottish, AWWH there you are, horn sweet lassie. When looking at women, men can consider almost anyone, so it's completely up to the thinking part of the brain to stop you. Your first foe is the hamster of harbingers. Not the hamster of harbingers. It is one of the 7 excellent grade hamsters, the jugular hamster, the hellspawn, said the purple elf. A cute white chubby 1 decimeter hamster, red eyes, with a fluffy fat mane stood small and innocent around the entry. There was a layer of skulls around the hamster. What are we waiting for? Said the hero and approached cleverly, ready to give his best endeavor. Whoosh, the hamster flew through the air, biting 100 times under his shirt. The hero screamed and panicked, trying to punch himself in the gut. Help, help me. The hamster could not be hit while under the shirt. I'm going to blow you up with your infinite cheeks. How dare you be practical? The hamster bit him in the skull. He looked stupid until the hamster blew air with walrus lungs, such his head exploded. Violent and piercing, the explosion was for your ears, like a blood bucket being thrown against the wall or lasagna. The daggered elf came blazing, secondly, reflecting magically with expert elf defensive magic and putting up impact shields. A comfortable magical cocoon, visible at their most strongest part. With maddening steel sound, the hamster was deflected. Someone might as well have thrown a flash grenade. The glaives vibrated and the elf was getting scared. I'm not afraid of you. The hamster started a red face of doom black magic and powerfully crushed the elf glaive. The elf wasn't stronger. Oh my god, I'm so scared, starts crying, it's the end of everything. Like a gunshot, the hamster shot through the shields and without anyone having time to react decapitated the elf with hamster power. It's a killer hamster. A devoid man killer. Don't react with fear. Power word, vacuum cleaner. Jens had created a suction and the hamster flew 4 meters, struggling into Jens's butthole. In the end, the thunk sounded almost like a vacuum cleaner. He resisted in almost a human way. They came upon the plains of harking grief and pointless suffering where there were many prisoners. Priestess. Here lies a cheater known in the history books. She kept cheating voracious for years, undermining his husband's trust. When he found out, she divorced him and took his money he had worked on all his life as a millionaire. He tried suiciding, but it didn't work. He is handicapped and a monster thus. Help me, I'm innocent here. I shall see your judgment fit, said the priestess and imprinted her shoe size in her face slowly, resting on her staff. Her body seemed weak and dissolving a bit, cheek dust fluttered like finality. Help us. James heard a voice through the wall, surprisingly with his sharp unaltered hearing. He punches thus, like there never has been any steroids. 5 armored giant battle rabbits unsealed thus, about 6 meters long, 3 meters tall, quite like the polar. We're raiding hell, come out. I'm Bloodmonger the Unclean. Bloody Mary. Undying Chest Day Gregor the really immortal, I promise. Are you really immortal? Yes. Unreal Engine Battle Maim Knee Injury Undertow Jr. Brick Hellforge Enrique. There were also alive prisoners and many beasts. They kept smashing through Hellclay finding Curiosa, contraptions and citrine. We've been sealed away here and forgotten, lost, too dangerous for hell and earth. You won't regret releasing me from this beastly campaign. How can I assist thee? It was a black belt robed kung fu man with goatee and twirly moustaches. James wondered just how many things were deep and hidden in hell. He went behind the prisoners undistracted and put his spiritual hand on the wall. He felt something behind the usual rooms, faint in life but clear in wanting to be rescued, like someone's last day's heartbeats and glorious ending. James punched, twice, thrice, through and again, rumbling and excellent devastation. There was a room of a shackled angel, wings bound and black magic manifest. James dispelled and unshackled, thus healed. I have waited here my whole life. I was never supposed to be found, beyond the Hellclayan plains. Those were the odds. I have been here for 1,000 years, tight, coarse and hungry.
I'm really gonna shield this
Right
time.
for revenge, justice. I have thought of things blazingly, constantly. I have thought of so many things. If I deserved to be found, I would be. The angel flexed his wings. Yet now it will become Satan's fall. Archangel Jaffiel. He would speedy wings up out the tomb like at constant speed. The orcs weren't always stupid. You red orcs are going to fight Satan, right? You better shut your mouth or we will fight you. We're getting out of here. I am not so stupid. I regret everything I've done. Deprivation favors the bold. I'm not going to risk dying for Satan, laughed an even redder orc honestly. I used to believe in sacrifice, he said sadly. An even redder orc said, I could fight hell, but I'd rather find my wife. The prisoners were here, don't you see, said James. Then she isn't here, but she is alive, I can feel it. Feels like a relationship loving, love understood perfectly. Unto Castle Middlehell with golf course. This is going to be a huge siege. Ah no. Armies of the presumptuous and postponing, said the hero, the reserve duty specialists and the back ranks every legion, the imps, the ranged, the javelins. They cast the teleports ushering in men and artillery. There was a castle with drawbridge wide in sections and a little bit of triple wall sealing the only entrance into the next section. It had 38 towers on towers growing bigger in the middle like a castle infestation, completely black castle, gleaming and hidden, 260 meters high eventually. They had to get through. Armies exited the grand drawbridge as the remaining party unleashed portals ushering in their siege. Siege onages with fiery brimstone, black dwarf, black trebuchet and ballistas. Even raider cavalry, unlike in movies we can pretend the cavalry to be as many as we like. Elven dragon cannon siege, it looks like a dragon's mouths, 3 Chinese flying crows. The ramp unleashed black powder bombs with crow wings, the ramp angle determined the range. And 2 dwarf culverins, anti-artillery, outranges, resists artillery. The enemy had false goatmen, hell orcs, hell bears, some brown orcs, mercenaries, hell polearm cows, goblins and cruel giant dead white-colored beasts of variety. Catapults made from skeletons spread poison over the walls with giant flaming arrows being fired and devastating hell bombards. Remember, if they throw weapons at you, you can throw them back. Take out the generals with javelins. A orc said when army is at the gates. Wow, that escalated quickly. The bombards needed to be destroyed. Start. A hell ballista shot at the raiding party, knocking people over despite their defenses, revealed a culverin shot in the middle of their contraption, dismantling it, collapsing it like an armchair. Giant double-glaived in their flesh, beasts lead the charge, savaging thus the ground as elves flipped. They flailed and ravaged. It took Arno buttoning up his black suit and sitting on top, stabbing with his double eternal baguette, a long time before it went down, tanky. The baguette assault cannot be ignored. The cavalry from the raiders swept in the goblins. They had pikes, but they were frozen and shattered, pikes and shields. Like a bulldozer with rocket back, they decimated. The residue was reaching green arms. A black dwarf took out archers standing with fiery catapult shots. They didn't think quick enough. Thus Flying Crow pierced reinforcing archer into the air and exploded into blood confetti. Let out of the drawbridge so we can fit to fight, said an orange orc. Write more here. The catapult got fireballed by a kingly dressed skeleton. It collapsed like a souffle. He was opulent, broad and square, crowned greedily, punishingly. Looked like he just died. I am the king of serenity, indomitable fortress and swamps infinite. I just died. James pelted enemies with throwing weapons like a barbarian, protecting the siege. They came like waves. Too bad there isn't a spell James knew for 360 vision. Eventually James had to give this flank of siege as the goatmen swarmed impossibly. The Hell Orcs were bigger and wider, with huge partly ornamental shoulder armor going like black branches, thicker plates taller than heads and muscular like a dream. They had a punishing technique that would burn and swell, weaken your exteriors like mines glowing. Hell nightmares with a fiery cauldron for belly-shot faceless bats as ranged weapons, they blasted suffering spells and leached mana and health from the mages and ammunition from archers, unbuttoned your shirt and dropped your pants. I know a psychic elf that would use her power to drop your pants always, said Arno a lot like James. It was 6 seconds in between everyone in a room. That would always be funny, answered James. I have a very sexy ass. He thought of himself like pivotal and elite, a feeling spectacle, still about his ass, yet unexplored because of better things to do, Nick Minuet. Sexy people are sexy. Winged nightmares could demoralize enemies like looking into a nightmare, made worse by a spirit fighting technique. They could manually increase it to seize anyone up like a brain error. A skinny demon with a mouth like a piranha decimated the raiders. He got the attention from the cavalry, which mercilessly stabbed him with spears and naganatas one cavalry at a time. The demon trapped them. Getting more injured, he could blow air into his extra bones. Everyone around was decimated as the demons spew a circle of thick bone nails. The piranha demons were a problem for every horse. Their physical absorption and trap caught masses. That charging demon, Hellporn, taunts you with its flails, but if you can't beat it, you're not strong. He will show you how unfair and demonic hell can be, the ultimate test of strength of character when you're out of time, air. There was a parrotmancer shooting parrots from his long sleeves like a machine gun. Follow me, beaks of bereft. James managed to say great plumage in it to all incoming parrots. Pit spawns of vorpal swords, stranger promises, burning and with concentrated lava flow were creating an offense. Don't touch the pit spawn's vorpal swords, it cannot be defended against. They had giant imps that could take massive leaps, without patience, and would usually be struck back as hard. Evil evolution isn't safe from stupidity. Hammerfiends enter. They were 6-meter dead black and white four-armed, thus that turned into clubs instead of hands. They spun around and knocked people into the ground, formidable ever stuck. They had winged great helms and gritty dead white muscle, eyeless and with a black birdcage stuck in their head flesh. There shoot the hammer, said James with this sword to a black dwarf. The first ballista shot was blocked, but the second went through its heart. Soon it was going down like a giant glorious. Glorious to be alive, alive like a cosmic heart. Yensed with legendary beard was putting everything on fire. With Armageddon going down and a hurricane of fire around him, they died, perished, melted. The hammer fiend smashed through and knocked back randomly. It was ridiculous to fight like someone with 36 swords. The freed angel made work on the bigger enemies, knocking with his 2 holy maces. He hit like he known impact magic and with a god's strength. Weapons missed his holy aura and time seems to move differently, lucky. James thought the armies of hell were formidable. Lots of swords were parried as James fought skirmish. His golem arm and huge shoulder plate blocked, knocked people out and outranged weapons. Time for the dual wield again, katana and S-polearm, just like in his first tournament where he was a wee bodybuilder. Satan was puppeteering the spirit of a death knight, hovering without legs, slashing with 2 swords black as a dream. No one could fight, its slashing was savage, no one could damage it, it was a spirit from hell. Satan laughed with the puppet, he was playing on people's feelings by killing them. Heat up the grills, we have new people coming to hell hither. James went up and parried the puppet, soon it was ferocious like a nightmare doll onto him. They parried right and left thus, busy. There is no cutting a spirit, said a dead mouth. James put his thumb on the katana holster. Unholy strike, nemesis unsheath speed technique. Everyone close stopped and looked shocked at the mention of the unholy strike. It's magnificent. There's this kind of power going into the hero's siege. Holy shit, I'm outta here. Here, take my spear and machete. The puppet and its katanas were cut. He fell folded like paper and then burnt into small white pearls. Making a dent into James' stamina, he didn't use it twice, not on the hammer fiends plural. Wait guys, let me just put the katana back into the holster again. The surrounding enemies ran away. James and Arno jumped high onto the walls filled with goblin archers and swept clean, jumping into enemies behind the lines.
4 viewers, that's awesome. Please don't PK me.
There was no brood reinforcement coming to this section. They had daggers and rouges. The arbalist was deadly point blank. There's the chains to the drawbridge, he cut them, and the gate mechanism, he broke it so the gate would remain open. Yensid had managed to sneak behind enemy lines pretending to be an albatross salesman. What flavor? There's no bloody flavor in it, he said to a goblin as he carried on. He carefully put his ashiks to a tower bent over also filled with strategic enemies and said, Fart reverb, first factory of baked beans. The flatulence grew and shrunk, exploding and imploding, taking larger pieces of the tower with it each grey growth. The tower, disparage of its foundations, fell slowly. Under the weight the tower fell into a geometrically measurable shape based on the weight, angle and block size. They are winning the ground battle, close the gate. It's bloody stuck. Watch your knickers. An orc smashed the foundation making a rubble gate. There was plenty of castle. Just then the tower to the right went down. Barge in, gentlemen, said a raider, move the siege. More bloody confetti explosion. The flying crows were devastating explosives, aimed at the walls, and behind there was no counter. They had to count the casualties and jump from the center. There are such things as perfect weapons in combat. A succubus and a leather female raider were fighting, kicking obscenely. They both got high heels in their eyes. Same time too. 3 humongous hammer fiends exited the corridor. It felt like fighting cheating again.
Justicar helmet, black dragon hide body and top and bottom, and shoes. Gargoyle is better, gives me the same. Let's give it the same.
3 humongous hammer fiends exited a corridor. It felt like fighting cheating again.
I also like equipping an amulet of defense, black beehive van braces, Sardomin cape, plus 10 magic defense.
3 humongous hammer fiends exited a corridor. It felt like fighting cheating again. Yensid clenched his butt muscles again and again until inhumane power was stored after 3 minutes. His ass entered a holy state and a humming noise was heard piercing similar to transcendence. He still had the hamster as ammunition. He wasn't going to keep it. The movie effects would be slow motion and black and white as Yensid shot the hamster out of his ass like a railgun and critically pierced the 3 hammer fiends, going diagonally through the sides of their bodies. They fell slowly, giantly, one at a time, arm above and back first and one forwards. When they slammed the ground you knew the magnificence and unyielding bloodlust. The hamster being shot as a beanbag was finished. He was conscious but only enough to deny any movement. There was so much power being exerted, it was like the shot of man claiming favors of the gods. Eventually all the enemy artillery was destroyed, with the golden white culverins outranging, slowing, decimating. The volley was like Robin Hood archery. The cannonballs were small and mass of circular gravity. The raiders cheered ready to steal. The raiders had Natalie Selenium, which liked to just run around and tase people in the neck. A dwarven Taz attack. Yensid had decimated white dead hammerfiend and was cleansing blood from his face with his fist. Such there was a general, super armored with a 2 meters katana. How are you going to fight yourself out of this, old man? This is where you fail, he growled like in a brutal song. Yensid had legendary cunning in his eye like a grounder wizard. You are not ready for this level of truth, time traveling expertise. Yensid pulled the general's sword out of his ass. I have already cut you, Yensid said. The general fell down face first. There were swarms of enemies coming of every kind. Yensid was going to have to create a break for his team. Propane form, constipated symphony. He turned into gas and choked everyone into ragdolls. They choked on their strength. Arnaud drank a potion of ridiculous sports. The French would do better, and his baguette formed into a longer signed baseball bat-shaped gluten gang. With speed and godly power, thus he went from enemy to enemy, knocking him out and far away in home runs. The smack and distance was something to be felt as a sports fan. From above you could see enemies being knocked away, but you could maybe not source it to Arnaud. Unlimited propane, break my foot off in your ass technique. Break.
I have an idea that our eye enjoyer is supposed to be pure of heart, not eat gluten. And I thought, like, James said, you guys are crazy. Gluten is completely safe. I've eaten it all my life and eats like bagel with gluten. Like, oh, this is completely fine. My dick's gonna fly off, and like in South Park, you know, my dick's going to fly off and explode. But then he goes, he just blows up into a balloon and floats away. And then realizes, wow, gluten is actually dangerous on ironman. He deflates somewhere. A few hours later across the city.
Unlimited propane, break my foot off in your ass technique. Break. Broken foot Tatsumaki Senpakyaku, like Rue spinning kick.
Safe.
When facing bigger enemies he hit them in the knees. He came upon the baddest hammer. Arnaud spit and readjusted his groin, then smashed his kneecap like almost with unlimited power.
Bug
The feint didn't make a noise but fell to its knees. Then it fiend got hit in the eye by a ballista. Arno smashed the fiend's skull like he was aiming to win a series with steroids, but it still got up tough and dumb and started spinning. James powered up his fire fingers for plasma. An undead figured out what he was doing and proclaimed, "Fire resistance, expert fire immunity." James threw one of his bombs, removing 40% and whatever afro hair the undead still had. Damn it, but it's not broke. Penance, shield of deepest hell. The fiend glue yellow-white and sounded like an expensive computer program. Arno said, "If you don't stop making fire shields, Sonny, I'm going..."
Should be on Netflix, I think. Like after Iron Man, it would definitely blow up. Like holy shit, it would be even more popular.
Arno said, "If you don't stop making fire shields, Sonny, I'm going to unscrew your skull, shit down your neck and invisible break off my other foot." A classic French delusion, the demon said. "Damn it, alright, that's it," James said, echoing, "got the weird feeling channeled. It felt kind of like being electrocuted." Red-white quark blew on plasma lightning spew from his fingertips, with the sound of a surge metallic and completely put through. It's a genius technique. The Hellspawn were shocked and realized they might lose as the Hammerfiend was lit on fire and melted quick like butter. Melted bit for bit where James aimed. Heaven and hell was jealous of such temperature. Him going to detonate a frost nova in his ass. Oh wow, he died. Jens had wanted to show off his ultimate moves too and sent his ass into gear
like
second.
1, 2, maybe even 3 and 4, because you can mine other stuff and just use this for people who have an average mining level. Man, shit. I have to make some coffee, chat, I think. Start opening my package from Crema. See what I got this time. The Legacy coffee. Huevo, a huevo, huevo, a huevo, huevo. Definitely. I went a little bit too far. There we go. Huevo, huevo, huevo.
Ja.
Oh, sorry. I mean.
Fortnite unter din cola.
If you have really fatty cream, if you have like 3%, milk, 5% milk coffee should taste better, right? Oh yeah, there we go. You see what I got there? 2 Passalacqua Harem and 2 Sweet Serenity. Specialty grade coffee. Plum blueberry milk chocolate. Unlimited as power.
Jens had wanted to show off his ultimate moves too and sent his ass into gear second. It would shorten his life and felt like sacrifice you should not cross. An everlasting warning by your body. Unlimited ass power, nervous waltz. People had to cover their eyes as the last hammer fiend melted from the tier 13 ass laser and cried, screamed, melting into the ground like lava. Evil wasn't ready for this. James was surprised modern sci-fi wasn't inspired by this. It was 8 meters wide. In the end it was one arm, hand reaching for help, melting thus. Everything was shaking as the laser seems displaced from Jensed. It was not flatulence made for mortal eyes. It was just one vowel piercing 3 times. You could look, but it does not mean you would understand. Wow, that was fart displacement, said James. Retreat deeper into the castle, were breached. More lesser more redder orc. As an emergency gate dropped from above, the castle was reinforced by spells and visible wizard shields. They regrouped and could not go any further. Use the siege, bellowed a raider, legendarily. The raiders toiled and meticulously moved to their anguish. Slowing, the siege would speed up. They pulled the trebuchet like a tank, immovable like a mortar. 2 trebuchets loaded with magical ammunition 60 seconds later swung giant. Slowly it traveled in the air, hungry until it smashed through, above the gate, then exploded everything in blue nitroglycerin. Revealed, Satan has summoned another spirit. Satan used the power of Baron Samedi, sooty and black. He had a terrible couch-looking suit and top hat with a snake. He sat upon a giant coffin with member of Silver Souls. Don't go into the soul coffin, you will die and never be reincarnated. Raider. Come, into my coffin. Samedi created an incredible 360-degree suction, drawing everyone off their feet and towards. Closest was Demolition Man Black Mark. No, Mark, I won't let you go, said a half-blind assassin from the high heels. She threw herself in and melted into soul smoke and became one with the Silver Souls. AR, let me crank and restart my coffin of endless circus. James came threatening, running, ready to strike Nemesis proud. Samedi cut him with whirlwind fate spikes designed to nail your soul to the floor. It was expected to stop him, but James powered through the pain Herolite. Enjoy the view, said Satan, laughing as the spirit went up in smoke, turned into pollution. Jensed had found a 9 meters wide and 9 meters tall, huge storage where they had every siege and artillery. There was ammunition and there was black powder, cannonballs. On the other side, goblins were rolling out. They had their goblin siege and it would pebble with piercing. Deadly following, persecution, gassy fat-bottomed aunt. Jensed puts gas like invincible into the storage, from his hands, streams of murk, dark purpose. He turned around, thus farts fiery, the whole building exploded, connected, went up in the sky like New Year's Eve. Sounded like an ammunition's cache, indeed. You need another user of the Nemesis Unholy Unsheath, said a powerful sounding voice, wise and legendary. There, chained all 4 limbs in different positions on a spinning black stone wheel nailed, was God Nemesis. She had a reflection like a stainless steel lamplight for an office desk. Revealed in siege, she had 1 soul burning from candles, 1 soul tickled by feather, sword and dagger impaled hanging and cut 1,000 times, some wounds a decimeter long. There was no blood anymore. For justice, I am God Nemesis, release me and I will conquer thus. To release me you will be judged. Take your bow and blow. James went brave forth and unnailed her limbs. I shall heal you with healing magic, help me team.
Gluten-free. Yes, yeah, gluten-free. Gluten-Tag. I'll listen to that song later.
I shall heal you with healing magic, help me team. I am a god, I will not die from this, or later. She held a sword symmetrical red and black that could turn into a legendary mace and melting fingerwood, 4 small whips. The guard went down and protected her hand at 6 fancy instances. It looked like a nemesis kind of sword. A third red eye opened in her forehead and she judged James thus. You are perfect, James, in the eye of justice and revenge, she said unexpectedly. You are conscious with ease of the world unfair and how you would receive and deal justice. You have purged yourself for no one watching. You seem to be someone like myself, thus I will not maim, destroy and languish. One should live like we will be judged in the end, learn for an eternal life and in a cool way retribute. James. We are reincarnated forever, said Arnaud. Casually James then said, I think religion can really help a step with this. Very interesting. She had a massive black ponytail, 2 meters, egg face, tall, very wide-shouldered and muscular, arms and shoulders bouldery, large as her head. Crispy grey skin and red eyes. Huge 6-pack. I am not just as blind, I am just colorblind. They spent some time regenerating her wounds, her spirit grew as her aura. Satan will make no more black spirits, she intends to cut. As a god, don't you have to respect Satan and his role? Ah no. Spitefully she said, no, I don't have to, my reign is not limited much like other gods like that. Her large lips were grey 6-cornered stone. As you spit spite I want to kiss your 6-cornered grey lips, Arnaud Frenchly charmed. I kiss my fans. Smaller Arnaud got kissed long and grey while their heads did not align. I like bodybuilders now. They fought little until they came upon a grey courtyard surrounded by deeper castle. A giant ultra-muscular humanoid 4 meters looking vulture stood arching on one leg. Giant beak zigzagging a little bit, it had bodybuilder arms and deathly wings. It was a real bodybuilder, to trade blows and fight it was like fighting a giant. It bit Arnaud and crunched through his thick assassin armor, he had to discount the golden armor. He slapped around like punches, undeniably giant. Many clung and fought the vulture at once, but it was until it started doing hellish impact magic they were really in trouble. James charged his fist going forward crunching with white and black lightning. The vulture met James for the blow fist against fist, but James was an absolute unit. It was a powerful blow both ways but James broke every arm bone of the vulture. It shrieked still brutal after the fists had collided with the same speed. With one limp arm it still defended then saw an opportunity to go for James again. The vulture arm shone with lightning, James dodged. He got behind the vulture, gripped its waist and did a Carolyn lift, smashing the head with the ground then rail-gunned into the chest. The vulture would not go down. He did a steroid hurricane cutting with the katana slicing 6 times. And bloody it was, the vulture's eyes whitened and it fell on its back finally. Arnaud threw baguettes shaped like flying axes, the enemies fell like getting bit by a cobra. The best throwing axe in the medieval times was from France, the Francisca. What's the hardest you think someone has been slapped by a baguette? Fusion baguette. The skeletal mage broke and he cried in the violence. Oh no, he pulled out the baguette folding chair, said the other mages. They were still considering what would happen to them. Arnaud had managed to get poisoned by corrosive blood saltpeter. Skeletal mages had gathered power to apply toxic personal. Somehow Arnaud had powered through and beaten the crap out of them in a baseball frenzy. You're on a hot streak. Don't run through the poison center and inhale the clouds. You deserve to be poisoned like this, Nemesis said. Now there is a chemist, poison and biological chemistry expert in the castle basement. He might join us or fight us 50-50. Alas, we have no choice, like dying is certain. They snuck around until invisible walls were opened and stairs circular. The castle was black and golden with diagonal torches and a bit more fantasy-like than hell. They found someone in a white hospital-looking room with chemistry sets and experiments genius. It was a huge mustached Cuban 2 meters tall in a light green and white Hawaiian shirt with 2.3 meters between shoulders. He had 4 arms tree-size lodging horizontally next to the shoulders. He was extremely muscular, even more than James, with a chiseled face, neck wider than head, narrow lips, smooth, expensive, sleek haircut. Nemesis, Oliveria, we are raiding hell. There won't be much left of here. It was a very smart thing to say. Surely we will not find an inalienable purpose and die for the innocent. An impossibly deep voice said, I'm in, not shwing much of his strategy. No, the baguette savant has been poisoned, hence our seeking thus. It was just a job. I like some who appreciate my chemistry genius, legal or not. Satan makes my poisons and cures legal. I gain a fortune if it's sold out of hell. Take Satan's stuff then and sell it as we get out of here, said James. He wanted another member to the eternal fight of Satan. I might, Hellman. He has lost blood, throwing up so he can't swallow, wounds are oozing green and black. He's faint, frenzy, then feeble. Frenzy you say? Oliveria lit another 2 Cuban cigars. What's the 3 cigars for, James? It's a 3-cigar problem. Oliveria smoked like he was afraid of running out. Okay, put this bazaar and hold it into your mouth. I will inject you with antidote 7 pathways, and finally we need something acidic to be traded into his very alkaline body. Milk will do. He went and got some milk. He spoke like a scientist and an expert, but also like a meat-headed bodybuilder who learned this to increase his pump. His speaking expertly was menacing, just like he was sounding like threatening you. It was curious indeed how all this fitted into his brain. It was deep, like an autistic musician could fit into. 10 minutes later. You can thank me by remembering my chemistry. Don't forget me like you weren't paying attention. There is only one like me thus. There is only one like your biceps, said Arnaud. I think he needs a cigar. Oliveria put a cigar into his mouth like fencing a rapier. Why do you have 4 arms, said James, they look superfluous yet shouldery. I am a top genetic Cuban gym human. Me too, said James, slow and concerned, Jim Placenta. They were silent, looking at each other, James a head taller but Oliveria wider. They helped Oliveria stack and stash important equipment, moving like house renovators, explosive and expensive chemicals and Cuban cigars. Looks like he has had 2 wooden boxes in the back rooms, each with 250 boxes of Cuban cigars each. Imported flavor. James hoped Oliveria would be a team member and fancied someone as compatible. This joke wasn't funny with him. Chapter. Silence of the baguettes, but with a greater accent. Enter castle courtyard, again. Fat armies of dead white beasts with black 2-handed spiked maces, 3 meters tall, they stood hard to kill. Nemesis had a shield that seemed to reflect and heal damage. Her slices were sure and her temperament worrying for doctors. Maybe she ought to try some goji berries. Nothing touched Nemesis. She took their heads like an invincible plague. With her legend sword she had a black powdered musket that also merged with a 1-meter bayonet. Similar could be said for the Angel. The Angel had some ground speed using his wings and fought like he hadn't been weakened or imprisoned. New demons spawned hulky and ugly, crawling up on the walls and up the bridges. They used every weapon and seemed menacing, intelligent and evil. There's a hidden tech in hell, said a raider. They had a winged fat imp shooting bombs with advanced technology. That's the wings of Leonardo da Vinci. Red, white and grey metallic feathers makes you hover through, not fly. James jumped up 4 meters behind him and carried the imp to the ground with his weight. Then Oliveria grabbed him and killed him with 1 punch. Smash. James put on the wings and they obeyed smartly. Nemesis cut through the last of the horde with an unholy strike. One of the unholy strikes requires wings, said Nemesis seriously. No wonder only one has ever known all of them, Arnaud commented in the distance. As long as I have magical stamina I can use fire, rocket, feet, drains my stamina fairly like swimming. Symphony of a Dying Star is the unholy strike of the airborne. You gather enough speed and distance to become something else, something floating seemingly spiritually in unimaginable speed, maybe because the spiritual can't keep up and becomes something chasing. When you reach speeds you thought were impossible for a 3rd time, their fates will change. When you know you know. Aim and hit your targets and destruction will be unleashed like eternal stars colliding in the destruction of everything physical. I will remember all of this. I have a mind and presence for combat like a calm animal, noting everything and keeping for more ambition. Upward James went with fire feet for targets and practice. I got to practice mana limits for this so I can break the speeds. Mr. Oliveria grabbed a grey dead obesity and jumped instantly for a spinning pile driver 15 meters into the air. He landed on the beast's head and it broke his neck into 1,000 pieces. I'm going to do some magic I'm not used to, Seth Yensid, on a white dead demon, Wednesday transform. The demon turned into a frog. I have mana levels thus for spells this demanding, feels like a chunk. Put it into a cannon. James picked it up. "Aye, wee lad," a black dwarf agreed. They shot the frog into a darkness elemental, just an explosion of guts and blood. It shifted through darkness and the void, but blind it got cut by Nemesis from behind savagely. James thought in the air an impact punch is just a punch. If I defy gravity and speed and punch moving my arm while flying, I need to keep it straight. James flew in a circle up and down, gathering speed with G-forces silly to calculate. The fattest 8-meter dead white mace demon knew he was tough, futile with their punches. Why would these enemies be any different? With God Halls granting epic music, James came down devastating, both fists forward. Arno felt too like singing as the destruction of the fattest was the fastest. James slammed down like a lord of space and speed. There was no getting up and there was nothing left. This was not the unholy strike though. From debris and fleeing enemies, James exclaimed, "Look, I kept my arms straight, getting there." Oliveria was the only one that understood. You can keep your arm down and fist to the side of your shoulder too. Your arms won't have to move, just stay still with velocity. Then I have to tank the impact with my arm, like resisting steel. Shoulder tendons are weak, the shoulder isn't straightly melted upon my spine. You're still tanking the same thing with your arms straight. Triceps. Satan's head popped up to mock. Mock not, there is no castle. Nemesis. You think what I have in the depths of the circles is pink chewing gum. Be disheartened, be gloomy, trust your worst day, you bring yourself closer to your doom. I have all your loved ones and the fate of a realm at my mercy. Do you think I can hurt you like this? Said Nemesis. She knew just where to strike from a position of power, threatened like a god. Satan's head disappeared in smoke as Nemesis tried to cut Nemesis. Great-grandfather Shelby, proclaimed James. I will not fight with you, I am useless of fighting at this level anyway. He looked well dressed in black grey forearmless suit, stripes with handkerchief and golden watch, grey cap and shining grey shoes. Wait, you're in hell, James realized secondly. How did you get here? I am guard over the potions, explosives and ammunitions room, including cannonballs. I inhabit the second circle actually. I find it hard to believe you did anything to deserve hell. Crime. Did your grandmother ever tell you which gang I was in? In Birmingham, the Peaky Blinders. I organized racketeering, robbery and resisted arrest. I didn't care for hurting people though. My heart wasn't always in crime, but one thing led to another. Sometimes you have to whack people just to maintain things. The things I did to escape justice, in defense, in survival. Yet I ended up here. Think I paid enough in eternal labor, forgiveness and boiling torture. They really turn up the temperature for those that like hot baths. I heard you were a different man. There isn't much to choose from in Birmingham. I realize now I have ADHD and can't study. In my time you were just scolded. Is it still a shithole? So the people say, especially those in Birmingham. Amen. Shelby lit a cigarette. Nice to meet you again. Most of the time I was just a child buzzing about exciting things. You meant a lot to me, James lad. Everything seemed to be going right. Until my passing, I had it coming. Too much whiskey, no sleep and excitement combined with an old heart. Alcohol as a poison can kill you even now when combined with the wrong things. If you have low cholesterol you tend to survive a heart attack. I did the bloody things right, but now Satan won't let me leave, only lets a few people off randomly for show it seems. There seemed to be privilege, favoritism, a purpose to the people going back. Another deed, down with the hell botchery. Here's the key to the potions and ammunition room. Sell the bloody gold bullets, there's no monsters there. Lit a fire and blow the place up. Shelby left coolly with his hands in his suit pants. I will investigate, said Arno. Boom goes the dynamite. We might need more dynamite deeper in hell, said Oliveria. We might need to excavate Greek clay-colored pillars of Colossus and Horizont, said Nemesis. A path to civilization's secrets and forget. Their minds went numb and forgetful, charmed and unnatural like sin as they went through the castle victorious. There were angel-looking women guiding them, tiny skirts, professional businesswomen too with sexy ties, red-dressed hourglass figures in the middle of the party. It felt so light following him back into the castle. Let's do that too. The hooves clacked like horses on the stone. Hooves. James realized the hooves didn't fit in. James wrenched out 50% of their control with his sharp mind, huge sexy chest muscles expanding with closed fists, screamed, dangerous thoughts, succubus. He slammed his pommel into the ground, knocking everyone off their feet. He figured out to also splash everyone with water magic circular. No, we're virgins, said a soft voice luring again. Jens had pulled up a sheet of ice so they wouldn't charm off the nearby cliff. Be gone, thought. You can't take my virginity, because I never lose. Raider. One raider still tried to kiss, but then got his tongue cut off, one dagger down his mouth and one in his throat. He was dying, but he managed to hit a succubus with his frying pan so hard she turned unconscious. The other succubus got the idea and started firing fire waves from their palms. I can't help I'm horned and hoofed, I'm beautiful. James and Nemesis did such tornadoes of katanas, succubuses were flying like pigeons in the sky, the succubus fled still firing. Arnaud strategically hurt them with words. You are as stubborn as a goat. You can't say that. You have climbing skills like goat. Thank you. Then came a frying pan. One pink succubus held her surrendering hands high. I actually want out of here, please, Satan won't let me on procedures outside of hell anymore. She had curly horns of 2 laps, mostly naked, tattooed and decorated upper body with many large piercings of large glamour. She was streamlined and her belly pointed, gleaming slightly outwards. If your stomach actually goes in, you are crazy. Sabrina liked to cheekily contemplate and comment her evil brethren, being a succubus like agreeing to evil office workers, but after this work mishap she has had enough. I will take this opportunity to go. Say that again, Nemesis echoed darkly, turned psychic, gleaming with her red third eye. I want out of here. She's telling the truth, we can still handle one succubus anyway. Look at these sinners, said succubus Sabrina. They chose lust where they should have chosen reason, and now they are always ugly, cannot intercourse, and tormented. They will still ever chase, not ever fetch the stick. I won't mislead you into a trap, but here is the key to Satan's personal pantry, delicacies best of the world, indulgence in the best drink, food and smoke. Collected for himself and replenished where he can. She held a golden key with hollow triangle and a portkey of crystal clear ocean, water and waves splashed around a tiny beach. I shall turn this key and prospect. James. Follow me. Enter rooms of 1,000,000 shelves, artifacts containing forgetful mirrors and baubles of insane whispers, permanently getting drunk horns. The key doesn't unlock anything unless you're right proper lost, cannot be found, under 10,000 kilos of weight, but you can still move at walking speed. They finally got the end of the room, into an opulent gold and black corridor, and then into a large kitchen and pantry, 2 huge wooden tables in 2 rooms besides. I help the few who need the pantry, she said mischievously. There's Ouroboros haggis pie and spirit, said Arnaud competitively. I dare you to eat the haggis, James. Tonight we dine in hell, said James in Scottish. Succubus Sabrina helped them serve and explain. You guys are super powerful, right? We're getting out. She had her instincts to languish and maim, sunder, but calmed them. Sabrina is ESFP personality here, like lots of succubus. I can 2 unholy strikes and flex stalwart, indomitable. James. I have beaten every large animal with a baguette. Arnaud. I am the best god for action and ploy. Nemesis. There was beer sausage from Germany and Hungary named crispy jalapeno, chili sundae, Westerbottom cheese 95% beef, horse sausage with truffle, boar and juniper berry. German hunter sausage, wild mix, and black garlic sausage. There were small kegs of the most expensive French wine, Chateau Mouton, Margaux and Montrachet. Irish whiskey, Ashford Castle and Estate. There seems to be the Devil's Orchard, and his sugar peaches, next to the saloon-like doors. This whiskey tastes like burning oak, said Arnaud. That's how the best whiskey tastes like. Whiskey proves how little people can drink to exercise, savor taste. Let me try. They passed it around, happy to spoil someone evil like that. This wine isn't surly, it tastes like expensive juice. Surly Raider. This is why I like red wine, drank like she had an eternal liver, maybe. Nemesis. Red wine drunk is the worst drunk. Raider. 10,000 euro sake. They coughed, burned and felt elevated woodily around the table. My grandfather drowned in expensive sake. Raider. Unpoison me Yensid, so I can drink thus more. I know an unpoisoning spell. He teleported a golden purple spellbook, pulled it from an invisible library. Undo mistakes from quests and qualms, release my confusion fusion. Look, a rare 50% alcohol beer, poison ivy, Raider. Pickled gremlin toe alcohol. That curls my toes. With the sausage they paired Wizard's Misspelling, University Exam XL Pint Edition. You only live once, Heartstopper gluten and sugar-free, and Indian Cobra, which is just a straight-up good beer. Satan appeared larger and more demon than a spirit, in a spiritual vortex. Esam, my first legionary, will come and flush you out. I will not show myself and fall for this. Great stuff. Have any more? Said James mouthful. I would like a whole salted salmon. You will pay for this. Satan pointed a shadowy finger to the pink succubus. James realized his mistake and threw himself in front of Sabrina. Satan sent a black orb with a hurricane of darkness. The orb tortured James and was hard holding onto. He held on, weakening, until Satan puffed into diamond dust at Nemesis unholstering her sword. No one has done something nice for me, they never do. Goblins have low EQ, said Sabrina sulky. You were born here, implored Arnaud, mind blank like a canvas. Succubus are born demons in hell, fairly evil, punished between beguiling behex, can reflect some physical attacks, control the mind. Frequent tax evasionists, they really have a problem with this. That's so evil. Well, that could be like worse, said Arnaud, considering worse brutality because of insanity. There's many countries who lose 15% of their income because of tax evasionists. The world is owned by the 100 largest corporations, and the fate of the environment. She opened a cabinet with cigars and pipes. There was spiteful snakeweed, lethal lava land leaf, and gourdweed vintage. They distributed pipes and smoke. This will replenish your mana, said Sabrina, mostly catching Jensen's wizard ear. Huffing and puffing silence. We need some holy gourdweed. Wait, did you say holy gourdweed? Said Jensen. Jensen bent over and farted out 50 leaves, and they quickly started swirling in the air like peace, to 2 meters up, then down like nature. See, that one is holy gourdweed. Jensen's ass is a rabbit hole of contradictions, contrarianism, abstraction, paradoxical dissonance, said James. Jensen being a wizard, his mana was restored like adrenaline. I don't fully get this spiteful snakeweed, I want some more though. Blue Mountain, the best cigars in the world, made by elves without manners and debt. Raider. Feels like I'm pulling down roast beef in my lungs. James. This coffee tastes like expensive chocolate and Brazil nuts. Angel. Let's try every coffee. James. Look, coffee candy you put under your lip. You look like a cat. I have time, I will make the time. Raider. James and Succubus sat on a royal green and gold laying couch and relaxed. James stretched and skinny Succubus sat like a princess on his meaty legs. She pulled up into a fetal position mostly on James' chest. He hugged her and they healed each other in silence. This coffee is almost as aromatic as perfume. It's basically clawing out of the mug. Raiders. That tastes too burnt for me. Raiders. If you just focus on the burnt, you're not gonna like Italian coffee. Raiders. I'm going to put some bourbon in my bourbon coffee. Raiders. Satan had some seriously smelly cheeses. Spanish hard cheese, Gouda, and black Swedish monk's cheese. I bet those Swedish monks commit a lot of sins for their black cheese. James felt truly happy as he tried every cheese. Free exquisite cheese, thus he tried haggis with sprinkling cheese. Earthy flavors can be pristine. They have baguette, Arnaud, said James like he whispered a secret language. I don't like just baguettes, exquisite cheese tastes more expensive on baguettes. Give me some fried eggs, procured ham, or beef patties. Beef doesn't taste that much. How do you solve this problem, culinary, Arnaud? It still has its place, it's unique. Like anchovies, you can bring the flavor from something else like fat. Arnaud hoped this would be enough explanation. Most of them skip the vodka and high-spirited drinks, being reasonable in gluttony. The Cuban taste is the flavors of the sea. In a kitchen I feel like a mother, don't tell anyone. Oliveria enjoyed himself in too small equipment. Soon he had made a lobster, langoustine, king crab paella with shallots, perfect rice. King-size serving. This lobster is good. Obviously. Try it with some blue cheese. EEHUEG, Arnaud. No one liked the blue Stilton, expensive as it was. They passed it around like a trowel. Drunk Arnaud and raiders started fighting with baguettes. Let this be the hour in which we cross baguettes, said an honorable knight, Pius the Presumptuous. Bring it here, I'll show them, poser unlappen, tumor dans les pommes. No one could beat his baguette power, although shaky and insane. Arnaud and a raider put sauce pots on their heads, intimidated in a circle, and then rammed each other as hard as possible. I will send your spine into another dimension. Your baguette has reached its length, the time is up thus, said a mercenary raider. YEARG, they ran like rams and collided shoulder to shoulder, both forgot to time the swing. On the floor the raider laid, comfortable in alcohol percent. Get up, I'm not done with you. They charged again. Clash. Arnaud had cut through his opponent's baguette and his shirt. The mercenary bobber Sven fell defeated white-eyed down on his knees. We need more baguettes. Until we cross baguettes again. There is no victory against Felix Arnaud Sauvage. I cannot win, I mean I cannot lose. Mr. Forearms Oliveria legendarily picked up the last baguette silently. I'll just say your baguette complacency, arrogance will be your undoing, his impossibly deep voice thus. Arnaud combed his hair, both took a double grip on the baguettes. Bloodlust more like baguette lust, said a observing piercing raider, content of spectating and not acting. RARGH, they sped like jousting horses. The horses were proud and fierce. It sounded like two metal beams being hit as Arnaud and Oliveria crossed baguettes. Both were covered in fighting spirit, absolute unit. Oliveria was stronger, but Arnaud had the silver offensive assassin absolute unit technique. Baguettes shaked under the pressure as they used their powers. Power baguette. Ancient baguette tech, Cuban beggar, low man's lyric. The clashing brought spheres of power. It knocked both of them to the opposite ends of the room and leveled the room into soot and fire. Satan would be upset. Arnaud was confident, focused and got up relentlessly. Paris baguette. Mr. Oliveria flexed absolutely unit, chess her indomitable triple outlift. Arnaud missed his target through being swept by drunk winds out the window. Wow, someone got up on the wrong side of the bed today, sniff. Raider. Yeah, should have closed the window. James. More games, people. Bet on who do you think will arm wrestle. Me and Oliveria, said James. Arnaud jumped into the window back. I bet 1 silver ingot. They bet evenly between them. Oliveria was wider and had more muscle. Oliveria drank a safety grog, swallowed like he was parched and his throat a murderer. Go. In 5 seconds they upped the power even more. Both seats broke, Oliver's shorts caught on fire, table got dense and the arms swung to Oliveria's favor. He was strong like a Tyrannosaurus kid, rare ancient strength. James resisted at lowest point, bending his hand. But James had better technique. With a finger on the table he pulled his upper body to the left and backwards. Oliveria seemed unbalanced and he slammed his hand into the table, having his fist close to his chest, bending over. I understand your technique, Oliveria said analyzingly. Lads, you are gonna be drunk and hangover forever. No more. You get impaired because of what the alcohol does to your vascular organs. Take this Oliveria grog fix. He picked up some jars with pills. Everyone gathered around. A raider got goat ears. Look what I found, said Arnaud. Finest Spanish hard Turin nougat. I don't like the soft Turin, it tastes like oversweet. I think this one will be perfect, James. The Turin went fast. They tried nougat with almonds, walnuts, cashews, dried berries and whiskey. You know this is worth a lot, even if it doesn't sell as much as gold, said James with a kind of sorrow in his voice. I shall stash it next to the gold. Raid the pantry, raiders. You're worth a lot in my book for this horned lass, said James. You showed us food. James' voice was loving and mesmerized, looking in the distance. I wanted to taste these things out of reach too. We are always tempted by the privilege, said the succubus cutely. She kissed him long on the cheek. I just hope we don't face the clown. Enter labyrinth of considerable, doubting, generous agony. We're still in the circle of lust, gentlemen, said James intelligently. So what is going to happen? We're going to be drawn towards agony and danger through lust. At 5 entrances into the labyrinth stood 20 succubus waiting to sin an incorrect declaration. Greeting, gentlemen, said a gorgeous half-demon. Welcome to the labyrinth. You can see minus the Minotaur, of course. He might have some relatives. Take some of us with you to guide you through the right way. Sabrina whispered sexily to James. I don't think we can trust a single one. It's not about using their knowledge. Follow me, I know bits and pieces. James went to the least attractive succubus. What do you say? With speech impediment, she said, furthest right. Many succubus seemed interested in following them, like with obsessive movement. Do you know what might fare in that tunnel? They said. Jens had made an ice wall and they slid down and away. They came upon 3 ways, one looking swampy, one thorny and one blazing. The thorny one only hurts you a little bit. Take that one, said Sabrina. Is it the right way? Said a raider with an orange Viking beard. Most of them crossed paths again in the middle. The raiders changed armor and used spells against the thorny hedges. I'll jump and see our route, said Arnaud. He jumped and hit a magical roof enough to break his neck. That's not gonna work, and don't disrespect the gardener of all these hedges. James used his psychic powers to sense, plotting succubus behind them, hot sauce and hot and cold routes ahead. Now what way? Some succubus flew and landed next to them. They were looking angel-like, dreamy of your consciousness. Take these 2 routes, both are fine. Come this way and we might include you in our sexy maximum mattress. The party was getting afflicted and lightheaded like fate. Pink succubus Seth. It's true there might be some sexy time, but they will execute you in a cannon afterwards. Back off, sexy people, said James. We know your mirage. Do you think we're going to break theatrics? One said honestly. You have a betrayer amongst your ranks. How ironic. Once again, James' words made people directly attack Sabrina. Arnaud deflected immolation strikes and magic with his baguette Kita shield. James stomped the ground with impact magic, pulling the succubus off their feet. Jens had froze them with butt magic thus. 1,000 refrigerators filled with Cerveza crystal. I don't remember this well, said Sabrina. Stay thorny maybe. And so they did. They found a burning soul, Alexandria. This is a soul that did everything right in her religion and ways of culture, but she wanted someone else. She cheated on whom she knew could be turned. She never had control over her lust like curious ideas, and kept rolling over her cat. The cat made sure you knew. You can join our raid and maybe we can find a way out for you. Let me guess, Satan won't let you out. I cannot stop my longing, I think. I am hopeless, but now I am grey and clay-colored, a zombie, of decay, weakness, office energy vampires. Yeah, this isn't worthy of hell, said Arnaud. We shall heal you. I haven't felt like this in 40 years. Of course you can control yourself, said James. Some people think they can't. Look, press this lightning rod, it will zap you to your senses whenever you need it. Can you punish yourself when you need to? Of course, she said solemnly. Then you can control yourself. Punishment looked easy for you. Too much self-punishment means your worth is more. Never lower your worth. Being healed, she turned into a graceful white dressed woman, braided brunette, looking Greek, feminine like walls closing in an ancient. I escaped the wrath of my sister right before I died, said Alexandria. I regret it. What do you think she is lying about, said Arnaud to James cleverly. They all lie. A woman like her, revenge in relationships maybe, they play an advanced game. She was an ancient wise soul reincarnated almost maximum times. Later upon thorny exit and fiery coast. A male succubus. I exist for women and gay joyful men. Satan plows not like God. He looked like Chernobog, 2 horns going up then sharp backwards, grey, dark red and black colored skin in different layers. He was sexy and logically square. The muscles were more like layered steel, almost forged into a weapon. 2% body fat, so every one of his rather medium muscles were grainy and gritty. He was sleek with large legs and 3 times 1 decimeter clawed feet and 1 heel back, like a lizard. You could not help us and want to leave hell. You can buy me for a prize, he said coldly and logically. I will tell you the correct route next maybe. Here's some thick cigars, Turin nougat and cheese from Satan's own personal pantry. And a not very heavy gold ingot, seduced James. Go left, he said. Where does the coast lead? If you have a sturdy enough boat to a land beyond death, time, responsibility, another plane. The left route turned right and they saw a lustful succubus charming the pants off of a tortured soul. This gang criminal did more than one thing illegal, said the succubus. He relied on fear to get where he wanted, including here. This man will do a righteous deed but take revenge when someone corners him. And beyond death, time. He only understands punishment as he dealt for snitches. The man did not react to them in his evil simple world. In truth, he only saw snitches. You know what? Carry on, said Arnaud. I have had more than my fill of this. We're not going to take everyone on this hell longboat. James enjoyed playing along. Take this Turin nougat, you didn't see us. I can feel the exit from here, said James spiritually, but it need be complicated to go ever straight. Let's test the labyrinth, said Arnaud and twacked with his baguette. I have stored my farts in my small intestines for years for a moment like this. Sabrina threw up in her mouth. Some leaked across her hand. Are you sure you can do this, said James. This ancient butt magic used to preserve power for when you get old or sick. Archean ass of Anglian. The fart made an earthquake with one vowel. Rocks started levitating around. Everyone fell except for Arnaud. The one vowel was met with another fart. Wisdom of old and power of youthful modern. Unveil the cosmic truth. Unleash. With the power of an atomic bomb, Jens had leveled the labyrinth about 90% in the direction James showed. The ass-shredding fart was so powerful he felt fate guiding him, just the right angle. It echoed in every wall and valley and awoke the gods above sleepy. Minus the Minotaur had turned the corner, his head exploded like C4 and he fell on his knees forwards. Raid boss down, said Yensid. Above the awoken gods Ullr, Tyr and Thor debated which were manliest. I am fearless, said groggy Tyr. I am a hunter, said Ullr. He had 2 crows, one of that would tell you about your past, one that would tell you about your future. I am stronger than you without my bracelets and power belt of stubble legends. Thor. Now to climb over rubble in a straight direction. It smelled like garlic and yeast. Wow, it feels so nice to be gas-free after 20 years. Sabrina threw up and fainted as an empath. James caught her before she hit the ground. Arnaud threw up because Sabrina threw up. I learned some butt magic, Defen said James conversationally. Might pick up more, he said, just like he wouldn't mind fate taking him any path on his shore. Intelligent audacity. Ah, that is good, said Yensid. Nobody expects it. A long silence. Another direction you can attack with. He stroked his wizard's beard. They saw interesting amounts of thorns, ivy, coal and bronze, ice hell and fire climbing over the labyrinth. Everyone that had been caught in the 90-degree blast had died, some bodies stood feet left. There seemed to be an agility course over lava they had demolished. At the end of the labyrinth. You will not cheat, you won't get out of here in the first place. A giant, 7 meters high, ran towards them with grey crispy skin and a skinny build. It was Cleopatra, a lustful sinner. She still looked royal, with white lightweight clothes, golden ornaments and details, jewelry obvious and large. Maybe she wasn't just a prisoner of sin here. She wore a crown 3 times wider than her head of gold, horns, flags and leather. It was small at the back and front, almost like a pair of horns. She came and wiped the ground with her arms. It was a simple technique, but the crowd flew like specks. She couldn't hit James, he was a unit, but then she ferociously thought to grab him off the ground. He was not as heavy. With speed technique, the golem arm extended on a chain all the way to her face. What an impact. It sounded like a gunshot and hit like a mantis shrimp. Mantis shrimp is a kind of boxing shrimp unique for its vision, 250 colors and punches so fast and strong, they lit the surrounding water on fire at 300 kmph. It made Cleopatra flip in the air 1 volt and landed on her foot, 1 knee. Fiery, she went for James again swiftly, but James picked up her feet. They were not going anywhere. She pulled back, but James excavated the ground with his strength. He pushed her foot left, which threw her off balance and almost fell. Recovered with her other foot, James pulled back like a god and Cleopatra was pulled down her on butt. Together James and Arnaud hit her in the face. Paris Baguette. Kiloton punch. James grows bigger as he is filled with retribution. Her feet flew high in the air from action and her face was dusted. Why do you have this cursed form, O goddess? Arnaud. I am eternally cursed for my sins and deals, but my blood is royal like blue, but don't forget my body is a weapon unique from power and input. She got up like a dancer and wheel kicked everyone. If you face me you will be broken, said James, give up. I don't think so, you think I will bow before you? I fear not the power of man. Slave driver, flashy execution, she was going to kick down James in the ground. No goddamn slave, thought James with aura of retribution. Arsekicker series, Godkiller. Cleopatra reacted upon the name instinctively, but did not change attack. She is fury like the gods of the sea. Quickly hitting foot to fist, it was decided. Cleopatra, like getting hit by a 50 by 50 meter fist, flew into the horizon. The punch tore reality white like puzzles not fitting together, left the air ablaze in a circle and the surrounding rock landscape sooty. There were moments where their powers just measured together. Worrisome, the punch seems to break time and space a bit, cracks in the fabric, you could look into cosmos. Heathen god, said Oliveria. I felt power like nothing human, said James. I feel a strange wind blowing, said Sabrina, it's so foul I feel the end of everything fair. When they looked they didn't see him at first, the clown. Do you want to hear a funny noise? He said, concerned with insanity. He's gonna torture you in a choking headlock, said Sabrina faintly to James. NNNNNNNNEIGH. Watch the neck scream, twist and hee, die. The clown was dressed expensively like an aristocrat, white suit. Behind his metal mask that was wounded and bloody was a red clown, hair sticking out twice like a baguette. He was so concerned with his imaginary world he didn't consider them targets. Can we bribe you? You didn't see us, said James confidently, but it was surprisingly hard. James' instincts now told him of an impossibly extreme enemy. He had to find his backbone, yet at the same time it told him his back might be broken. No, you will not find yourself deeper in hell, I know who you are. He didn't though. He summoned from the hell floor a grey signpost with an exclamation mark on it and started twisting around insane, waiting for something that would never come. James approached ready to fight someone he realized now would be one of his most powerful adversaries. Fate told of him of danger, timelines of death and brilliant success. If you stick to darkness and linger, you will die. The clown sprinted with feet standing still and twacked so hard with the signpost James flew 2,000 meters per second back, he disappeared. He went through impressionable rock and buildings like a cannonball, crushing the districts until he gathered his inertia. James felt strange as he regained his perception. He used healing technique used to heal broken bones. It wasn't effective enough. He used a healing mana restoring pink bottle he had from Dragon's Nest and felt strange, uneven, fine. Flew of fiery feet back as quickly as he could. Arnaud unleashed his cross baguette like it was equally dangerous. Another hit from the clown blocked by the baguette felt wild, but Arnaud was knocked back 4 meters, sliding on his feet, then unbalanced despite sacrificing his surroundings, fell. The ultra-powerful baguette could defend the clown's offense. The clown was blocked by the cross baguette, but the blow was unreal. a white-brown church castle with 3 towers erect from the ground knocked Arno considerably off. Sabrina started messing around with her succubus mind powers. It was very effective. Master confusion expertise, Bard's shitty symphony. The clown of unlimited partying started acting strange if he didn't before and started clawing his head. Party, put your fingers in your ears, Jens had said, fire in the hole, and farted the clown's eardrums out, but it seems the clown wasn't listening. The C4-like explosion knocked him to the ground, but as we can see it looked like he was standing up as he was on the ground, twisting. The incapacitating by the enemy made Jensad charge up his ass. Sonic boom. Jensad came squatting ass first, knocking him over and bruised. Jensad came unexpectedly with a twice as strong, knocking over, power. Sonic boom, sheer force. You're already dead, he pointed to the wizard. Sheer force like shearing sheep. Jensad dodged a charging signpost strike that seemed to tear up everything around it, very skillfully indeed, and charged powers sucking in the surroundings of energy and fire, thus in his ass like a black hole. Everything turned into silence for a second as the great suction into Jensad stopped. The signpost shattered violently, as a result. ARRHHHGTH, in his hands with tier 13 ridiculous magic tier, and a part of his head seemed ruined, sucked and destroyed, broken forever, yet he would try to live with it. There is only one timeless weapon like that, said the clown. The clown pulled out his claws, a 3-claw-like guitar. He could block with his katas, and he could slash. James came back soaring and went for a kick into coy clawing clownary. The clown didn't move and maybe took damage, but he acted like nothing happened. The clown terrorized the party with a flurry of claws and teleports. They were all grievously bloody and cut soon. The mist of blood hit the ground like a cough. Face me, you ugly fucking clown. What did you say about the wound in my head? Thus clown was aggravated. James picked up his Maestar Naginata fresh of any blood and started intimidating in the air. The flurry of claws like by a puppeteered ragdoll was met by James poking and deflecting. It was slightly too fast for his cat-like still reflexes to fight. Absolute unit, chest of Arnold Schwarzenegger. James turned Onyx black for 2 seconds as the clown clawed his chest, then went, Arabesque lightweight punch. The punch clearly made a deafening impact for a second as the clown just tanked the attack. He lost his voice and gacked, spitting blood on one knee. The clown was lost. His armor fell slowly, broken. It revealed blackness and cosmos. You could see Neptunus. This was an entity not understood by degrees of Davenport and scholars' scrutiny. The clown took his time recovering from the punch, but then unfortunately started twitching and doing erratic bending of body parts. James' instincts flared. Like the howl of the insane moon, his enemy was several times stronger and more erratic now, the perfect time and orbiting fierceness. IAARGH, the clown had summoned a hell train and had ran over James faster than he could react. Tears in the fabric of time and space-time revealed impossible. He would not be able to survive this many times. He would not be able to survive this many times. James flexed, absolute unit, crystalline ignotus. As the train came again, James blocked Indomitable and then counted through the train. Like the punch had spear each, he punched through, crunched through metal with almost unlimited power, and the clown. The clown laid on the ground.
I'm eating a pretty serious medication right now that makes you live 20 years shorter in life on average, because it's bad for, it makes you gain weight, and it's bad for, you know, if it's interesting, it's bad for like blood pressure and blood sugar, 20% worse blood sugar, for example, which is more than enough to get diabetes, right? It's bad for the heart, it's bad for the brain, heart disease, cancer. It really hurt my blood sugar handling organs before. It was too much to be fat, eating medication and drinking a bunch of zero soda, Pepsi and Lidl cola. It was sugar free, but still it's half as bad with the sweeteners. So it kind of reduced my ability to handle blood sugar at 50% with 50%. And I thought that was permanently. And I was very sad that I could no longer just eat sugar like you used to. But I've been recovering with some super food like sulforaphane. Yeah, if you keep your blood sugar low and eat vegan, some of the stuff seems to recover. So says Dr. McGregor. And my mom's like, come on, eat it, come on, doctor said 1 to 2 months, so go 2 months, you know, and it's been really hurting me. I've been suffering. It's really, I'm getting like these seizures kind of thing, and memory gaps, and it's shrinking the brain. I have a much harder, 50% harder for me to learn new things. You know, like I do it 50% less because it's like my body always says no, right? You want to learn some stuff about the Stone Age and Wikipedia, human history. It's like, no, do it tomorrow, do it later, you know? There's always a response. I can't wait to stop, it's dangerous. When it comes to ADHD medicine and antidepressants and certain medications, you can't just trust the doctors or the medical industry and big pharma. You must read and figure things out yourself, and you know, you can't trust doctors in that sense. I'm gonna risk eating that medicine another week because it's very good with another one in combination. I just feel like that myself. Speaking of which, I keep drinking this. There's a store in our city. It's a Coop, and yeah, our city is very famous for having drug problems because it's the cross between northern routes and horizontal routes, right? And so you can find a little bit of illegal stuff in some products, like alcohol-free beer and gluten-free stuff. And for example, the beer was the 0.0 was actually 1.0, and I did feel the effects of alcohol for a while. I'm gonna have to throw that away, or it's gonna ruin the medication. The pizzerias all have stuff in their cola that, you know, that's illegal and you're supposed to have. You're supposed to come back to the pizzeria because you get the I've seen drug dealers going on and stuff, you know, from my window to the places below. Something else you can't trust doctors with, just being reasonable and logical here, is diet. You know, they're not dietists, they're doctors. They only get 3 months of food-related things to health. You know, you might absolutely know more. They generally don't prescribe a diet to deal with. They prescribe medicine, right? Don't prescribe a vegetarian diet to deal with a problem when it's the best solution. You have to. We trust doctors in the sense that they know what we're supposed to eat to be unsick, but I mean, they're just like they used to smoke. They do eat a lot of meat and dairy right now. They don't like it. Some doctors, I thought McGregor is very versed in the latest science for health when it points towards like the vegan diet, for example. It's very good diet for blood sugar and blood pressure and cholesterol. Lifesaver indeed. So, you know, do your own research if you feel like there's a diet solution and you feel like, oh, I want to stop eating blood pressure medication, so I'm gonna eat flax seeds instead. It's gonna lower my blood pressure by so much, and then I'm gonna use black cumin, and I'm gonna use, you know, gonna use turmeric and ginger against inflammation or whatever, right? And you don't need medicine to lower your cholesterol or blood pressure or blood sugar. when there's a vegan alternative, right?
The clown laid on the ground unconscious. How do we destroy an enemy like this? Said Arno.
And sometimes it's not like even being vegan for a while or being vegan from now on. It's just tweaks that happens to be vegan, you know. Do you want cholesterol lowering and best antioxidants from any source, the largest amount? Do you want something that beats cancer? You can eat amla gooseberry, right? Dried form, powder form. It does like everything. If you look here, amla nutrition facts. Nutrition facts and Dr. McGregor right here. Arnold is an intake gooseberries on amount of antioxidant-rich foods on earth, although familiar to many, particularly in Western countries. Powdered dried amla is used in Ayurvedic herb preparations. And subject of hundreds of articles in medical literature, including papers with hyperbolic titles like Amla, Wonderberry achieving prevention of cancer. Gooseberry is the same, do not confuse Babla's gooseberries. Amla and cancer. In the video studies shown that Amla may have anti-cancer properties that may not only appear to block cancer cell growth. Also invasion, kills cancer cells, normal cells alone, was the human cancer cells, lung cancer, liver cancer, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, colon cancer. It was dripped on cancer cell, the growth rate is cut in half, they stopped completely. They began killing it off. By the end, half cancer cells were dead. But we don't know what the percentage, you know, does it reduce the chance of you getting cancer by 30% or 20% or whatever, right? So, powerful antioxidants. Amla is an average the single most antioxidant-packed whole food on the planet. 1 teaspoon of gooseberry powder costs about 4 pennies and provides 1,500 units of antioxidant power. It's more than the average person gets in an entire week. Reduce cholesterol. It's 500 milligrams, about a tenth of a teaspoon. It works with a so-called leading cholesterol-lowering drug, but you can have a quarter of a teaspoon, and then it works 50% more than leading cholesterol drugs. Improves arterial function, reduced artery stiffness, which alternative to statins inhibit diabetes or dysfunction, versus benefit of other affected drugs, include muscle damage, liver dysfunction. Some clinical research has been shown that works well as a leading diabetes drug with other side effects that might recover your ability to handle blood sugar, better digestion, cough, fever, pain, stress, and other suppressing effects. So you go to our Ayurvedic store, you go like this. Buy Amla. You get the powder, yeah. Buy whole food, Kayati farmer. Very good idea. It's just alright, so I'm gonna go make some coffee now. Go to the bathroom.
How do we destroy an enemy like this? Said Arno. With explosives.
Should I just
They loaded him full with dynamite and went 50 meters away before exploding. The weakened clown split mostly head from torso and laid across the hellscape. He defied death broken and bloody, laying on the ground like a sum of a fight. He was personalized despite pieces, until he realized and admitted he was dead himself. Down into Circle 5. Treachery, betrayal and murder, violence on weekdays, home theater systems. This is the place you know for people who buy the most expensive video, audio systems and only watch football. Russell Crowe is gonna beat you up. The fairest treated here are treacherous of country and regimen, not betraying friends and family. For those thrones were just a game and politics just a way to murder. They are constantly in rigged games where they will be betrayed, no matter how they think strategically and gain favor, they melt and torture and die just to relive the thing again for every life they took. Some here are responsible for 100,000 deaths and will be here for basically eternity. They can only know one death ahead what their fate is. I guess if it's maybe death over one last death, they would figure it out. Satan keeps twisting their minds with games of give me your soul, don't be reborn ever, grant me your power. Hell is a special place for violent crime, you reap what you sow. Especially it is endless nights of fighting, running, draining you enough to want to die forever. To those who lived out violent crime lives Satan sits on and bullies fair. He likes being the punishment of the wicked. There is no fairness for those that cannot control their anger, hot ambition. They are victims to alien faces they know they must please but are impossible and have the most fearsome nightmare consequences. Hunted by people they must make amends, but only works as far to motivate them there is a point. At the gate into the abyss, they came across one of the lords of hell, Asmodeus. They could sacrifice intelligence for a week, but would grow painfully into new double the IQ points, really making you question if it's a trade at all. Asmodeus, Mammon, never content with their place in hell, always looking for more. Greetings, beast of 7 equal lords. He had 4 crab legs in a circle, 4 meters, his face, huge pumpkin-like was his face on his stomach. On his head without a face sat still a crown with horns curved back and forth, growing where his eyes would be. The crown was wide, wild and beastly. He was black and parts boiling red, fat bodybuilder arms, polearm and halberd. He was auxiliary in rule and general, evil primary. You look alive, he scrolled with his giant mouth, it looked like a wave. I offer a deal as you know for alive and hell personnel. Offer your flesh, poison your mind for 1 to 6 IQ points. You will be fine eventually, about 8 days. No one can stand the cut of more than 6 IQ points. I am Lord of Temptation, you will not escape with intelligence and being wise. I will trade 5 IQ I have decided, said Arnaud. BWA ha ha. Arnaud's body twisted horribly and unnaturally. Bones broke and he handled the pain whence it came. A face-grab creature jumped on him and muffled him. He laid on the floor being absorbed. Pain is fleeting, from damage we grow fine, said James, 6 IQ points. Asmodeus cut out his eyes with both claws. BWA ha ha. Asmodeus stabbed him with a spear of Egyptian corruption in the stomach, making him sick and brittle, like pressure in the skull. My eyes. Bloodied claw-cut face were he, hollow and helpless. Try to see more than half the picture, suffer with consciousness impair. James grew his spiritual sense. It was thus a 3-meter sphere around him like he could see, through piercingly, secrets. I can lightning and healing magic that can let you see until we are done in hell. Nemesis used godly palm healing. Do we have to fight Satan? I cannot let you just fight him. You might slay the Lord of Hellscape and red boiling skin. You will fall and you will not defy my pole arms. He dashed through James with a pole arm slice, turning him unconscious. Perpetual second of torment. He made Yensid clasp his head and out of the fight. Beget implosion. Arnaud crunched his crown into nothingness and seemed to give his metal tetanus. What do you think you're doing? Said Asmodeus. Arnaud pulled out her infinite ultra beget claymore, speckled and woven in metal. Asmodeus came dashing. He held his sword up in 2 hands, French celestial scream. The aura and pretty effect came like an explosion and easily knocked him away. That's a counter. Do you like it? Based on the damage you've done. Yensid got up ready to be conscious. It distracted Asmodeus. Mental paralysis. Yensid clasped his head again and went to his knees. Arnaud had cut through his stomach on the right and pierced some demon-looking organs. Speed of mental health. You think I will lose from this? I am hell incarnate. What do you think Satan thinks of this? I know what I said. I'm good enough to replace Satan. Bundle of joy. Asmodeus regurgitated black dynamite and Arnaud blocked with holy sword defense and absorption. Asmodeus came slashing through the smoke. Arnaud blocked and swiftly slashed. It was a 50 instance blocking and attacking. They picked up speed, Asmodeus said. Restlessness attack. Something came digging from 9 directions centered on Arnaud. He spent the 5 seconds thinking. The attack centered powerfully and destroyed Arnaud. He went with white eyes coughing blood and flew onto a plateau. Asmodeus said restlessness, again, but the attack was blocked by Yensid pouting his ass. You think butt wizards are weak to mind magic, do you? You won't affect me again. Take this coward, restlessness, fiery hatred. A dual slice that Yensid blocked with his ass. It sounded like dropping an anchor to the bottom of a spar. Embrace my strongest attack, gallivanting bludgeon, first executed Frenchman. During revolution. Yensid blocked with his ass. ASS counter. The limbs weren't going anywhere. They measured power and it rose up like steel resisting a skyscraper. Power went through measurable means they glitched out of space and time. Inconceivable. Where is Yensid? Said James awoken. I see tears in the fabric of reality. I can't look at it. That's what happens when an immovable force meets an infinite object. Maybe we can find him later. Wait until next fight. Gah. Bonus Lords of Hell. 2 small triangular shields, 1 sharp, 1 blunt. From hell can morph. Propane elbow. Write about fighting 2 bonus Lords of Hell. At Circle 5 they met Darji, a fox-like human with 9 tails, body long tails.
I didn't tell you which medicine I'm using, so you don't know actually, but alright, so I don't mind them telling you that I'm eating antidepressants, right, and some basically it's pretty fast making that coffee. This is nice vacuum can. You open up like
At Circle 5 they met Darji, a fox-like human with 9 tails, body-long tails designed to torture, one of the worst weapons of the gods. Greetings Darji, she was cutting a man 1,000 times and lighting them on fire on her powwow. Adventures gather, I know of the war. She seems like the ISFP personality, the adventurer if you will. Completely unique world of feelings, harmonizing and morals, unique like the most beautiful painting, yet they're concerned with getting on, action. To live through their senses one more time, a fragile adventurer sometimes, sometimes sturdy.
Cup now.
Are you going to fight? Said Arno accented. I am busy with these souls. I have no purpose if the gods don't grant me one. You are a vessel, said Arno. I am a weapon, but Emperor Joe is dead forever. Your violence is legendary, said Oliveria and bowed, cuts, burns and bleeds to languish. Darji flirted back like they were at the cinema. Don't toy with me Oliveria, I like it when they burn. You should try chemical burns. Analyzing the power of burns and chemistry might be done through scientific curiosity, see? But there is also sin and insanity. Do you deserve to be here? Can you leave? Said James. I work here. I just think it's the gravest punishments for the gravest errors.
Yeah, being like fat or whatever, you know, it's like I don't want to be judged for the medicine I'm eating, so I'm not gonna tell you and don't judge.
I work here. I just think it's the gravest punishments for the gravest errors. Would you fight Satan? How about that? Said Arno. I believe in the winning side. Smarter James said, we are the winning side. I can kill Satan in one hit. He is doomed. She didn't realize it was the Nemesis unsheath. Cousin, said Nemesis, you know I can kill him too. Nemesis, I didn't even know you were here. I barely leave Circle 5 anymore. You were bloodthirsty. Come be judged by my third eye. If we can have some fun first. Say no, said James. It feels spiritual. Satan's fall, Nemesis looking about. Darji. Satan appeared in a harrow endless void and vortex. You won't believe what I say next. Satan. Fight us now, we're going to deepest hell double quick, none defied us, buys my ancient's retribution. James. Satan thought they might not find my ancient weapons deeper down, eh? See? Why would I fight you? I would escape your clutch just to annoy you. Fiddledick, black leprechaun, you fight like old people fuck, James. Black leprechaun, that word has kept us down 400 years. I didn't mean it like that, Satan said in a neutral voice, not even Satan as an ENTP is racist. It will be fun to fight you here, I'll do it if you all drink this black braindeath brain slug potion first. You will be chanceless, said Darji. Then Satan's spirit form got hit brutally by a thrown scythe. He flew and he was stunned. Hail friends, said Death. He unveiled his 26-inch arms in an armless hood, grey skin and what seemed gleaming. His hood was harrowing and certain, he was present and motivated. Another scythe was summoned differently looking into his hand. He can't transform back now, let's see if Satan is true to his word. Death. You think you're gonna fight Satan in his true form? Well good luck, Satan said like a joker. What did he mean? He meant things like hiding a golden spear, they didn't hear it thus. The power of Satan could be felt as he grew 6 meters, sucked in blood, fire and energy. From his taunting spirit turned a demon monster, 16 spikes on his back, almost as long as he. Spikes everywhere, in his head, on his elbows, on his long thick lizard's tail. The first Lord of Hell was boiling red with a small, well normal-sized face on a giant body. His face was long like a baguette with the horns making his head round. Enough muscles to contest Oliveria. Some of his spikes seemed black crystal trapping cosmic horror and revelations. Shields up, said Death. Satan breathed fire like it was black lightning on everyone. Death saved them by sacrificing past victims of his. Then Satan stomped, making a ring of fire expand quickly that hit everyone, not unlike a punch. James and Nemesis brought out their katanas and went for different knees, slicing, gliding on their knees too. Can't cut what you can't hit, Nemesis, said Satan and jumped behind her, then stomped her into the ground with his lizard-shaped foot.
20.
She looked weak, plunged into the ground. Satan summoned fireballs with rocky exteriors, slowly traveling in a circle further and further out. Oliveria, underestimating, got hit by a lightning strike too, rendering him sitting and unconscious. Perfect infinite ultra baguette. Arno came fighting. Satan clashed with his baguette and spiked hands, once, twice, thrice. But Satan turned around and hit him with his 4 meters tail. It broke his baguette and hit him in the chest, his eyes whitening, falling back upon the ground. That's a fucking baguette. You fight with that. This shit we don't see often in hell, said Satan, scrolling, complimenting his own. Have my respect before you die. Stuffy Frenchman, said the pink succubus. Oliveria, like a beast, got up with hair spiky in all directions and life testing. You're not mad I quit your team, said Oliveria menacingly, and put himself in front of Satan. I'm an adult, I can handle it if someone quits my team, he said, like he was in Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Satan and Oliveria started wrestling, and James thought it would be a good idea to throw some throwing.
I'm gonna listen to this song, man, and I'm gonna risk being DMCA'd here. It's like every 25 minutes or whatever, if you listen to regular music, you can get DMCA'd. Even if I'm paying every month for a subscription-based thing, so man, I'm playing for. This is the song. So maybe as the YouTube stream is interrupted now because their software registers the copyright, which is completely fine on Twitch and Kick. There's kind of the music faster or something. YouTube can do that too, I think. Yeah, don't judge. I'm not in any way particularly because of anything, right? Gonna go into a mellow state. That's why it's so good. You know, it's just like repetitive. Special feeling very good. My dying bride. There's more layers to this. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you think or realize there is stereotypic or whatever, but it's not true. close enough. I'm gonna listen to some more than that actually.
Satan and Oliveria started wrestling, and James thought it would be a good idea to throw some throwing weapons. Jesus Christ, they were strong. It was like watching two Cuban dinosaurs. Eventually Satan headbutted Oliveria and sucker punched so good in a combo he went unconscious. Satan was stronger. Even unconscious Oliveria seemed concerned with fighting someone. His body did not fall. Satan lashed through their backline and chomped up weak people and artillery like they were weak to melee. James was charging up power. Be careful, Satan can turn you into a hamster, unable to unlock your iPad. I see you, you shit, said Satan, and they jumped at each other at the same time. Satan higher. Power of the fallen, Satan. Kiloton punch. Impossible, Satan was stronger. Instead of getting injured, the punches colliding broke the ceiling and floor into a 10-diameter circle. James has never felt such power. It was godly, it was fiery, unfair hatred. Some Satanists had started spectating in cool black clothes and were playing Behemoth, the Satanist. Tectonic shift. Satan knocked everyone off the ground, pulling the floor up and smashed them with the giant cave roof. Come on Arno, death is a good day living for. Here, let me pull one of Death's tricks, said Death. He made Arno drink Death's Defiance adrenaline potion. BWAHA. Satan laughed demonically, 1v1 time. Everyone was crystallized in black ice, and then Satan teleported instantly everyone into a closed-by arena with imp spectators and thick hellspawn. Separate the weak-minded to become cattle, and hosts for my children, said Satan. Order of Holy Clement, Eternal Infinite Beget. Arno summoned a shiny cross, great beget, sapphire speckled. Only Satan seemed to understand and fear. It shone like pure light, and Arno's gaze was determined and ready to kill. Arno was slashing and keeping Satan busy in his holy quest. They clashed 3 times left and right, then Arno made such a beget blow it blew Satan to his knees. World beget. But Satan drank one of Hell's secret weapons, the teleportation assault potion, which allowed you to teleport closely as quickly as you could think. It spent his health, but he was a beast. Choke on your beget. The beget strike missed, but Arno turned around to block at least one stab with a bone shiv. Satan teleported 8 times in 8 directions around Arno in 4 seconds and stabbed Flurry. Oniyari, Demon Spear. Satan teleported above and then drop-kicked him down, Arno eyes whitening again as he bounced off the floor. Satan's scaled skin was blood-red and moist like a snake with the most...
It's definitely a very luxury blend. Not giving enough reaction.
Satan's scaled skin was blood-red and moist like a snake with the most muscle of anyone there. Death is coming hither. Next up Nemesis, and Satan said, she thinks him unjust. Some gods above started watching the duel. It felt like interruption. Satan versus a god. Satan tried to punch, but Nemesis dashed so fast, several times until she had Satan's back. She slashed his back 7 times, he couldn't get her off, but Satan had a lot of spare spikes and muscle to fight with. Once again she was out of patience, Nemesis' unholy strike speed technique. But Satan's cat-like mind and reflexes had put himself behind her. ARGH. Nemesis had been impaled in the stomach by his tail and had been raised high. James in red retribution aura legendarily crushed his black crystal and took the hero's way of aid. The good always wins eventually, Satan, said James, and unleashed his pole arm and shield. You the dark shall disappear before the light. I have 1,000 lives of perfect samurai ready to strike you eternal. I see your insecurities and fears like a buffet. Satan teleported forth an impossibly large sword, 6 meters by 1.5 meters jagged. Spare me, said James, choking on manliness, it will be good enough. Satan teleported above him and sat on his fiery sword and tried to go for James' back. Absolute unit, back of Ronnie. Teleporting and dropping onto James' back did not break his unit, but the sounds were maddening steel on steel that banged distorted and emitted a shockwave. They were both knocked around. No one has ever survived that attack. Only Deathwish. Satan swung his 6-meter sword, but James, being even quicker than Satan, blocked with his shield. The blowback was absorbed with his surroundings sacrificed, destroyed. Undying hate. Satan made a Satan cross on the ground in the middle of James with his foot, that also made an expanding fire ring. James figured it would be lethal and turned into elemental spirit, costing a lot of mana. Unholy strike nemesis speed technique. By putting half his stamina...
Usually I'm like 80-90% vegetarian. I had a little bit more meat than usual, because Paul and Thom had some beer sausages on sale in a place, and they had pizza and taco beer sausage. It was very good, and you know, can you get those here? I don't know why people don't eat enough beer sausage, considering how delicacy it can be and good it can be. If you're gonna eat meat, right? But it's very fatty. It's even fattier than, like, it's 38% fat here. So it's like almost as unhealthy as bacon. Yeah. I'm a big beer sausage fan. I always was, even as a kid. I can crunch down the 5 out of 5 spicy ones as well. Satan's elbow, or like Satan's regulator or whatever. Toe of Satan.
Unholy strike nemesis speed technique. By putting half his stamina into a sword of death, Satan's arms were sliced off. Then he channeled not normal in the moment power and crushed his 6-meter weapon. Surprised, Satan sacrificed an undead friend to make him permanent skeletal arms with swirls of black and green mist where it was. Let me get into your hate. Satan's eyes blazed red. No, James would not fight anyone as maddening red hate started to tell him to attack everyone. His head gleamed red. Yensid stood in front of James and blocked with holy bout magic. I fear not the first Lord of Hell. As Satan teleported behind Yensid, Yensid teleported behind Satan and attacked with his ass. True ass laser, site of eternal and first book of ASS lore. The rainbow laser appeared like an alien weapon and gained in width. Satan blocked with a dark void, queen of the dead dimension, spinning with his hand, mostly. You will not hurt my friends. Yensid upped the power and Satan's skin started to melt into pink muscle and he stunted on his knees, arms hanging. ARGH Satan melted more than ever. True form of Satan, said thus and dispelled, grew another 3 meters. Diablos with red dragon wings, more muscular, regrew his arms and longer spikes. Oh shit. I'm sorry, James, that's all I had. He survived. Yensid lathe on his back, ass smoking. Use this steroid potion to tip the scales of fate given by our archangel. Wait, I can only open it with my ass.
With meat, maybe.
Yensid turned unconscious. James drank and felt aggressive and unclear, easily aggravated, legendary. James grew another meter in true black nemesis, twice as powerful. James transformed like swirling muscles, a sentinel, a unit. James came charging at Satan, crack punches, Kraken. James assaulted too fast and without oxygen technique. James came with speed technique and turned around to Yensid as he knew Satan would teleport to him. Before Satan could puncture Yensid with his tail, James hit Satan in the face. James made for a wide aggressive grin, putting everything in as Satan got explosively punched out of the arena. After some hovering and staring, Satan teleported behind James. James punched his face straight up. Goddamn, that was less than 10 milliseconds, thought Satan. I might not be able to hit world record reflexes. Eternal hell neck break. Satan used physics cheating to allow for neck break endeavor, using James like a skateboard. James' neck bent in absolute unit, but he didn't die protected by a guardian angel. No pain indeed. You can't beat Satan. Let us punch and see who is strongest, said Satan to James.
Sometimes when you buy those steak and potato packages, you only get a little bit of meat. That's completely fine with me, you know. I'm really enjoying eating Chinese and Japanese boxes right now as well. But they really don't seem to have this kind of huge portion sizes that fat people can enjoy, or ravenous people like myself, both because yeah, I'm really smart actually. I figure out how to make myself smarter too. There's some really nice teriyaki stuff that could go in a restaurant, to be honest. I prefer vegetarian boxes. With this panang curry with the soy steak, oh, it's delicious. Parotti garotti. It's enjoyable to buy ready-made pie as well. If you buy 2 pies, they can taste twice as good. It tastes better really if you buy multiple pies in it.
Let us punch and see who is strongest, said Satan to James.
Whoops, I
This
went
is it.
away again from my career. I'm sorry
There comes a
about that.
time when a man must use his bravery and strike all he has, and then get stronger. James did the Nemesis katana strike surprisingly 3 times. Satan teleported away from them. James didn't feel like stopping at all and charged magical stamina into his fist with lightning eyes. Arsa Kicker series, Lightning Super Collider. Satan retaliated in a pure demonic voice, DEEPEST Harrow, Hell Impact. Satan punched James in the face, but James hit him too. Quickly it was decided James was stronger. With a shockwave that swept everyone off their feet, secondary explosions of force and dust clearing electrically, James crushed Satan's power. ARGH Satan screamed sincerely and long, flying as his every teeth and spike had been shattered from the power. He was crushed like fleeting. His consciousness was giving up like poisoned steroid beastum. Enough, you think I'm giving you shit. I'm outta here. See y'all, you wish you ended my reign with Lucy instead of things repeating. It's Lucy, said Oliveria out loud like a thinker. James shot Satan in the shins so he can't escape. ARRGH, his head edged back. It was very painful for him to do anything offensive or defensive with his legs. He is wounded. We got him. Satan teleported out of the arena in defeat and summoned a magical huge fancy black dwarven motorcycle fit the Lord of Hell called Painkiller. It was one piece of monstrous gleaming steel and he sat toothless. It blazed away leaving a meter-high trail of fire. It's one of the secret weapons of hell, said Oliveria. He's going to retreat into a plane you cannot access. Catch up with him, James, Yen said. With speed technique James ran like a gunshot, but as he came into groping range Satan pushed a red button and the motorcycle sped 3 times as fast at least. James launched from the ground but mostly forwards with rocket feet and wings of Leonardo. He needed to go faster. The motorcycle was still going into the horizon. He pushed more fire magic out of his feet turning into like blue plasma cannons 1 meter in diameter. This was unstable. It felt like he was being drunk. He broke through the sound barrier like a gunshot. All evil things looked up. 2 times he went faster than he thought was possible. Into a wasteland of black, brown and red horizon, he sped enough to see thus the motorcycle in a blur. 3 times faster than he thought was possible. Rocks and architecture followed in a cyclone in his wake. He was closing into the ground now and Satan, ripping everything off the ground. Symphony of a dying star. James crashed like Armageddon into thus, fist on his shoulder side. An explosion of 25 by 25 meters growing, threw everything in the air eventually. Plates and hellscape. As he smashed through Satan's back, he died. Satan was dead. James carried his body back on the motorcycle he figured how to use from the future. Ruby rivers flowing red. Satan is dead. Rest in peace, fallen angel. Long live the new queen of hell. There must be a successor. Fate and reincarnation wields it so. She is right here. Darji had bored Lucy, a demon-looking supreme, sister to Satan in paralyzing, agonizing weave. You did something good. I know you would. Don't think I am on your good side, James. Corruption from everything withered. Lots of horns from demons and souls hovered slowly into the sky, back to limbo and the court of hell. This is the deal. You better run hell in an uncorrupted way, said Arno, taking the lead, or we will do this to every one of your family. Yensid, stab the drama. Yensid put his ashik robes against the ear of an orc tide.
Immediate judgment,
farting unicorn, and blew the blood and gruesome brains out of the other ear of the orc.
Wasted.
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 If you are worthy, you will not explode. She looked at the corpse of her dead brother. Do you know how excruciating this will be? You can't put an equal amount of blueberries in every muffin, she said, sweet yet psychotic. End of Hell chapter. The raiders procured weapons like the Atlantean sword and trident of deep godly angers. The motorcycle and pets of hell were considered. Many contraptions from Leonardo da Vinci. Legendary item, the sky harpoon, a magical tree ant. Indeed, James froze and cut out ingots of gold from circles of greed, everyone carried. James would keep to the succubus, and in a crush she to him, he showed the outside world and explained to the evil nature. She would be enthralled by jobs, learning and teaching you could do. Hell explained things well through, like the finish. A horde of agonizing hell population came with the group into the elevator leading from Circle 2 to 1. Understaffed Lucy had actually brought some angels from heaven to sort out all those people deserving to get out of hell, finally. They sat in the court with Ouroboros. He knew through this was not the time for him and just kept it about the people. Hilarious, Ouroboros said, as they exited, Satan died for his sins. He was never here for the staff, abusing. Will you grant us passage out? You are only cursed if you came in here dead, gentlemen. All through I can deny you exit if I feel like it. Demonic blood pulled. What inspired your immediate unicorn attack, Yensid? Double rainbows. I was observing the farting steroid unicorns in their natural habitat, being disguised as steak, and they kept farting in my ear. The most common farting unicorn name is Seabreeze, then Frond. Love letter from Satan to Jeff Bezos. Please make another mistake, sin greedily, come down to hell, love Satan. You have potential to be not only good but bad. Being on a throne lets you rule and you can do whatever you want. There is only power and competitive tricks. Chapter, Competitive Laziness. It feels like being rich. I have kept my political views and a worth of someone climbing. Let's go through things we were denied and pay. No. My friend, I have an idea, my best idea yet. Let us stay at the 2 skyscrapers hotels with the bridge in the sky, luxury mindset. Let's see if we can live in a hotel for a year. Let's see who can stay the longest. We can only eat, drink and sleep hotel. They have a pool complex, right? It's connected. Who crosses the street first loses. Let's bet 10k. You know we can really bet 100,000. I'm down for it, said Rich James. One of us will stay rich. Let's go up in class, said Arnaud, and tried to look arrogant, for those that didn't start out rich. I will never be a twat. Let's see if my friend Porpoise wants in. Is he a cool lad like me, a powerful fighter? He is a coward that never gets hit in his defense. That doesn't sound that good. Sorry, he has many qualities and beat Dragon's Nest. I can't believe you beat it anyway, even when I see the treasure for a second. I am not in the time frame. He sent Porpoise a pigeon you could blow up into a ball and it floated the right direction. Standing into the entry of the building, which was like a 4 meters vault, with a triangle steampunk with narrow base, diagonal. It rotated upon entry. Look, the hotel starts here, inconspicuous, standing out with one lady. There was so much area around this luxury spot with golden and black sofa where people sat and waited with their suitcases. There were presumptuous wizards and rich adventures. They appeared like physical beings and mistaken. Hello, I would like a suite as close to the gym as possible, 1 for 8 people. For us 3. Oh, is this a Pride Month thing? They weren't bothered nor stopped in their wavelength. No weird adventures, separate king-size beds. Do you mind if we book an entire year, James said. She was bothered but answered in discipline. No, I'm sure it will be fine. 1 day at a time. You're not going to troll and devastate. We're going to enjoy and relax, exercise. We're going to give you a lot of money, said Porpoise. I might have to go on another raid after this. So this is Porpoise, said James, a trusty people person. My defense has never been breached. James said nothing. I am an elite assassin that never fails a scalp. They didn't know both lied to each other. Arnaud created an impression of fear and unease. James and I are undecided who is stronger, dueling in the windows of fans. A 1 meter teal moustache to the sides person showed him the suite with a huge night partying balcony and legendary huge bicha sofa for giants. There was a luxury bathroom with golden toilet lid and space, powerful spec streams from 9 directions with a magical teleport hub. You can only go in boxes around the pool, no matter how rich you are. Clothe yourself, rule #1 inch. I need to show off my physique to the hotel people, said James insightfully. You can wear a deep V, said Porpoise. James decided to wear an armless tuxedo with a deep V, going down to the start of his abs. His chest exuberated like intelligence. They went to a barbecue steakhouse that only had buffet. 46 quid for the buffet, 66 for the luxury items. I have found our first problem, said Arnaud. We must not get the small bite-sized dishes, let's totally go for the luxury items, let's see what can eat here, said James. Maybe there's shops, we must skip breakfast and fast when not craving, said Porpoise. Doesn't matter if we're rich, this is not sustainable, said James. It was quickly the next day, they woke up like introverts compared to their company in ridiculous beds and magical temperature sheets. Good morning, rich person, said a magical dwarven steampunk robot in the roof with one eye and one arm of 2 beams. Today we have a special on Sushi Master's restaurant, encouraging you to stay here. That's exactly what we're doing, said James. Enjoy the party with the people who rotate later, said the robot coldly. They showered and woke up completely in luxury. Let's look at the pool complex. They had royal unaccessory bathrobes proper and like suits and reasonable robe-looking parts. They came upon the sunbathing babes looking expensive next to a fun robot that rung every 20 minutes. They turned in sync yet slightly like a wave. A wave of stupid reluctance and sassiness. It was common to see many pumpkin spice ice latte. It was trendy and blamed the heat as a season. Indeed, the season here were hot. Ice around some building in sight but magically changed into expensive habits. Hey ladies, said James as the robot rung and they flipped lethargically. I'm going to do my posing routine here. I don't go to shows anymore through. You look stronger than ever. Come to my room later, said a skinny elf. I am the best model here. Jesus Christ, thought James, focusing on the crab pose. I see something, guys. And ladies, said someone being out of it and in fashion sunglasses. A taco stand. James edged with his toes to the end of the horizontal street. I'll pay you 10 quid if you bring your stand to the other side of the street. I am on the other side of the street. No, come here, we're hungry. With magic and pulling the stand with straps, he seemed focused on productivity. I have a Michelin star for my stand. Bib Gourmand, right, said Arnaud. I want to expand my menu really. What do you want? Halloumi and goat cheese taco please with chili pepper, 3 please. This is gourmand chili pepper. What is it called? Does it matter? He said, being used to rich people. I'll take 2 regular tacos in shells. I don't have regular tacos. But you can make them right. He stared on him with his stubble. First to notice was Porpoise. I'll take 2 signature, said Arnaud. Chili mayo, lime and steak taco. I'll take the vegan one instead of James, kimchi and garlic plus onions. Some takis would be nice. Look, they have non-spicy ones. Takis are almost Mexican. They stood and ate in newspaper until James pointed out random. Did you know there are certain newspapers and printed text that creates fat cells the longer you touch it? It feels funny like a shock your receipt. Do I need to be worried? They paid 3 quid each for the tacos. Look, handsome stubble Mexican, I can tell you're a people person. I'll pay you 10 quid every day you stand on this side of the hotel. We're waiting for Arnaud's ex, and she's never going to come, said Porpoise. I'll do it, he said. Later, the Mexican demanded 20 quid to stay each day. James said, we're doing this to save money, I can go to 15. The pool complex was really magical. Palms and trees covered some instances, tunnels of quaint. They had a lover's water gazebo at the end of a circular tunnel. It never seemed to end. They were relaxing in the suite. James was writing, Arnaud were playing cello and Porpoise was just talking. You have an aura of parsimoniousness while rich, James. Maybe it's something good. You can't be a coward. People will step over you, said Arnaud. Dominating people can be your aunt or partner. I feel nothing when it happens. You can always cower and retreat. After you cower, it is over. It is over when you're brave too. I can't be brave like you and James. You were born like this. It doesn't work. It is the duty of a coward to stop. They went into an exclusive restaurant for the traveling company Eon Rend. Gentlemen, what can I do for you? Warriors, I suppose. We want access to your lodge, restaurant and snacks. Our every cheese flip sells again. Golden membership in this hotel is 460 quid per year. He expected him to have no problem paying it. I'll do it, said James. You don't seem like the richest around here. Yet still rich, that's what you meant. Yes. We're rich from being raiders, looting like goblins. All kinds of rich people are welcome here. Let me bring the traveler's water, the most expensive water in the world. You have the new Elven Rich deep fryer, don't you? It feels like luxury. We can fry anything for you. The deep frying machine were working hard in the background. I can get used to relaxing here, said Porpoise, in the low sofa and table. We could hang out here 2 hours per day. There is also the strategy games room. I'm not a nerd. Shut up, Arno, said James, joking. You brought a retarded skunk. Neurodivergent skunk. You're right, I'm sorry. It's so cute. What? I visited La Hamster Sauvage shop. Quick, out it into this space-confined bag before he comes back. Out came the MYEES man with 3 steel cups each with holes for deep frying. Fried camembert with sausage, Grando Padano cheese flips, blue cheese walnut cheese flips, we call the doodles here. They're free every day, 3 steel traps. What if I'm scared of fat and calories? We have a smoothie of the most exclusive berries and square watermelon, served in a square metal canister you can take home. I'm going to collect 50. Whatever you wish, they're from the gay steel mill. I would like the party bowl of pimento and parmigiano cheese flips, 3 cocktails you think will suit us. Arno. So do you feel like you want to leave yet? Said Arno. The thought crossed my mind walking through. No, this is the first day, said James. It will not get better than this in a way, said Porpoise. They followed a crowd into Masters of Sushi. They knew it was their time. Somehow they got everything out on time, being a full restaurant. There was also bento boxes, barn bao and bibimbap. As they stood in line, a lady told them, "There's some people who have been a month here. This is a destination for people, this endless skyscraper. We'll see what we can do about that. How good is the sushi? It's real top chefs from Japan." The next morning James was cozy yet ready to work, but for some routines he didn't think about money. Not that he had. Today was gym day and would be for him often. He was the kind to exercise on his holiday, a nice run in the sun where you don't have to put on any clothes, or a luxury gym. "I can't wait to be unable to move," said Porpoise. "You are a nerd, James. Even in the gym, I will put up with you even if you boast every machine. I don't show off like that, do I?" "No, you're good," said Porpoise. "I'm told orcs and ballistas is where it's at, nowhere else." "Greetings, feeble humans," said a female orc between fangs. "I'm not feeble," said Porpoise. "I was just making cold talk," she said. "Number 10 time stamps or one-timers here. Here we only have membership. We have many happy customers and celebrities here, like the Harridan's Circle of Greed members." "Circle of Greed like in hell. Don't disturb them." 120 euros per month. "Yeah, we're pretty much ready to pay that." "You look like an orc already," she told James. "I trust you will show them around." "I might visit every day. It's going to be fun. Very nice broad gleaming place. You have a monster chilly sun and endless windows. It is the 40 feet th floor." "I'll take the elevator," said James. "I'll take the elevator down," said Arno, "when we're done with legs." They saw a row of dumbbells up to 90 kilograms next to a row of old people chatting, introverts tightening belts, and people who were obviously on steroids. 50% of people would have guessed correctly. "Grimberg wants to challenge you," said a bushy orc. "Follow me." "You're a real man," said Grimberg. "Let us both see if we can lift the 90 kilograms dumbbell into a curve." James took 1 repetition. It looked slow with hidden effort, if any. "Look, Grimberg can do it," he said with a fury of mind and movement. "Let's do 3, said James. "I will alternate between arms to not go askew." It was not too heavy. "Getting evenly strong right and left is endless work," said Grimberg. "You are not stupid," said James. Grimberg said, "I'm not stupid," in the gym, to his friend. "I'm analyzing." "You need stronger abs," he said to Grimberg. Grimberg did 3 repetitions with the same arm. "Let's do 6 repetitions now," said James. "All right, Grimberg gets it. You are strong, feel free to talk to the orcs." There were elves in fashionable clothes enough to have their own show. Mostly they just laid on the machines, didn't really keep up tempo. If they had cell phones, they would use them. James went back to his group. "So what we're going to do here is something scientific. We're going to rest 3 minutes 30 seconds between large muscle groups and 30 seconds between small. We're going to do compound sets. Let's train small groups between large. They will have to be good enough. Resting 5 minutes seems to give the same results as 3 minutes 30 seconds. Research shows this doubles the gains. You can feel yourself being stronger then next time you come. You can do 8 to 11 repetitions for 5 sets and the 6 feet th set 4 repetitions. Now we stay just under endurance exercising. What's so bad with endurance weight training? It makes you small, long fibers are small. Oh my god, Arno on the other hand, was actually scared. Today we're going to include conditioning training. Basically 80% of maximum heart BPM trains conditioning for endurance and 80 to 100% BPM. Where you can't talk anymore trains conditions for explosivity. We use different fuels for this in our cells. James got nerdy. You use stored fat for endurance, or carbs for explosive conditioning. After 1 hour of exercising you use up fat cells for work anyway. Let's use heavy cables and whip for 20 seconds, then rest 1 minute 40 seconds, then we can do sprints. Chapter, the simulation.
I got chat.
Back at iHenja University, James was walking into corridors of fantasy and class. We have a sport where you chase after shooting stars, calculate with 2D images of stars, locate and get hit in the head. Called in the middle of the planet. I know someone that would be glad to catch an asteroid with their butt cheeks. Anything else? For your outstanding grades, we allow you into the games room, said teacher Ulrich. It was a golden room with detail of accepting luxury. It would be a bonus room in a game containing loot that blows your mind and then too much. There was extra comfortable sofas and pompous design. You felt appreciated or to your maximum potential sitting here. Standing up next to a table, they were playing air hockey. This is a game of managing countries. So this magical screen, interface on fashionable mahogany, seemed to be 55 inches. The commands, they really happen. It's called the Hamster Nexus. It's a magical 3D interface, pull it up, or you can just command people in real life, commanders, right on a pigeon. This is a game of 22 people. Manage a country by filling the inhabitants' real needs, set them on a path individually and as a collective. Correct micromanagement makes for unique posts and unlocks fashionable achievements you can carry around in school, show off gear. Starts out medieval enough, gather resources, economy, war, advance your people. War beats gathering, economy, early advance, sacrificial early war beats war, but not everyone knows gathering beats advancing, or tech, said James. Greedily advance your economy exponentially if you know they're going to tech. Tech every economy upgrade as your soldiers go to war. They're not going to attack feebly after, you have time. If you lose the fight, they invade your base through. It is a game of customizing cute individuals, war and strategy of kings. You can assign your king for boosts and boons, special advancement of places, focus on a secondary thing, usually within castle walls, if you build walls. Big braining nomad maps if figuring out who fight first always loses. Hide your military strength unless it's good. How much will you spend on the Ives and Scouts, proper math and mythology, James? You'll see. If you knock someone off the edge of the map, they're in a banished land and hard to summon back. There are fights with enemies hiding plots, temporary resources or tickles. There are even techs guarded by pirates. We have real people cosplaying as warriors, clerks and scribants. Usually games are watching from the bench, or the sofa crowd. People on a 1-hour break. There are 4-hour breaks in this university. Shut up, you live here. In the left politics condos, right. Makes everyone happy like their friends. Turns out having things in common helps. Anyway, famous warriors playing untechnological, beating people up with new baseball bats, poets working on writing. Sometimes they have to be replaced. You won't be affected. The gods play with lightning and smite randomly, just like real life, direct thunder. The gods love this game. Early attacking is fun, pure siege. How much do I play for entertainment at the bench? You can go for unusual strategies and stack HP on villages, thus they're not the optimal meta. The elves are stuck in a wall of pine and maple and have to chop through literally to reach other civilization. They cannot be attacked early. They will sell me their wood. They are meticulous, the pine and maple elves. You must inspire your warriors, teach them what to do when it is hard to think, prioritize vision. Cowards can fire bows, tell them to take down 2 of them each before they die. If I get rich, I will buy a swath of mercenaries. Some CIVS can tech into assassination. Usually doesn't render you out of the game completely. That would be a second bar too secondary to win. The game seems tremendous. It is a classic. You have to try it. We call it the simulation. He had managed Arnaud, who bought himself in with fighting skill, pizzazz and popularity. He wasn't that stupid in every university class either. It is funny how we are specialized. From a hole in the wall, a hamster emerged and turned into a student. Wow, is this some kind of treasure room? How did you know I would be thus? This is the game's room. I followed into a hamster hole. I saw something coming in there. A distorted hamster wasn't supposed to be there. Alien, I thought, or morphing animal between rodents. It was me, said Arnaud. No, it wasn't, said James. You can manage your real strength reasonably in battle, lead the armies, simulate a manager while you fight. This is not important to weaken the simulation. What are we going to do, Arnaud? He said friendly. Are we going to team up and go 2-on-1? 2-on-2. Team strategies are limited depending on the game, and you have encouraged, rewarded to betray when reasonable. I will do a funny strategy maybe. We shall be friends until we aren't. A relative concept, said Arnaud, a strike of genius from pushing and a relative health. Call me for pauses and breaks, said the golden admin with Greek golden armor, clothes yet wavy. I've done this before, yet the students are genius. James was against geniuses of math and magic. a Might sports star, 2 economic students of Ihenger, an elf playing barbarians and a barbarian playing trolls, ents and orcs. There was relative shoulder width from booths and an air of experts and productivity. James had studied the entire tech and planner program and remembered key points relative made by his brain. Keep up the military of others, you have no choice. Non-investments look scary. Hero powers and plain in non-hurting battles were very counterable and single-target focused. There was take out any unit skill even eventually. If you disobeyed and used too much real fighting prowess, you got slapped or even worse, sat on by God of War Nemesis. She was a judge of merit, individual homes and spirit of IC Ihenger University. What did you study here before, Nemesis? I'm not going to kiss you like I did Arno, James, also you are too small. She was grey yet beautiful, cold and conniving, or selective. It all comes from something like nerdy or secondary. The insult went completely over James' head. Nemesis is a great wake of hell hath no fury so, and she has sit on me anyways. Shut up Arno. They understood he was just talking out of pseudo-truth, energy or what he wanted things to be. Do you want to go for a coffee later? He told the cute blowed long ponytail judge, looking like Freya. I get off at 3. I'm growing my virginity back watching Arno charm this fucking admin. We are playing on the Acropolis map with rivers and pits of every resource. The one's perfect for your race is not close, but randomized medium far, in circles of the map circle. The gold pit maps are the best maps. Artifacts are scarce. Someone starts in the middle with 21 players around, defensive cavalry, slow Blacklands knights, also cav, scorpion, faster hotspots. We're going to crush the middle guy, right? Said Lance, the protagonist. Grouping up on the middle guy in this map is boring, said a dry student. It was cold yet confusing, your intuition did not bereft. Emerge immersed, immerse in the stimulation, game starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They immersed into a room with the same mahogany table, but in thus a room where everything was replaced by medieval maids, strategic commands and hall of the city. He could see blue silhouettes of other real players and tear into relative reality to communicate. This was just like being in real life. James had chosen the Greek with Greek fire tech unlocked for free at 3 of the possible 5 ages and giant ship arms. He had chosen a fun strategy for now. With just a little bit of investment he would tex into Betos with throwing huge melee damage, Arbalist with huge damage slow firing speed, Scorpions with one-shotting prowess, rip-ranged flat armor was the strategy. If they invested into ranged counters it would be wasted, and he could mass ranged units, but the speed for kiting by the tanks were lower. Thus we would invest into quick build buildings in battle, until something better presented itself. He would invest into counters himself and flaunt. Maybe I have a counter out of these 2 units for you. Then armored knight arbalists minus contemporary defense on the pulling arm. How would he fix this if they thought contemporary didn't beat iron troops of the Chinese through with 70% ranged resistance as archers? That would be fun and stimulating. He invested the first free tech point into close headshots, through plate for arbalist. It unlocked explosive package arbalist synergizing with fire magic skill.
Oh, that's gonna have to be good enough.
The beginning was just micromanaging economy and development first. No one would rush first age armies, which were the least varied yet charming. In the multi-chat text-to-speech you could type into the 2 Asians plays, African said, let's see if middle guy just techs into defense and defensive buildings. I'm going to invest into every currency for trading. He is the only one that can rush, thought James. Cooks, start out with a jug of coffee, espresso please, caffeine for your leader, and I want to be caffeinated the entire playthrough. They obeyed immediately. There were more state planners waiting for a command. The Greek invented bread, Romans commercialized it and French perfected it, so in history he could tech into bread easily with free mills. You could tech into bread as the whole meal. There were grains of different resistance to disease, weather and thorns for animals. James would invest into spiked whole wheat kernels, then keep the kernel into the baking which made everyone smarter and healthier for pennies. Genius James has doubled his health of the population already. Mental sickness is going down to 0, said Ponytail Icevice temporary. He is using some niche tech we don't know about. It is called spermidine. Or muscleamine, said James. The first point of contention was the gold pit, and it seemed to be a rectangular berry pit, berries as far as the eye could see. Shrubbery next to the Santiago Chili Seas and neighbors Lance and Boars. Lance was advancing with HP squires, Cautious and Boars who were Babylonian had begun harvesting between them the same distance without military. My strategy is non-military so far, said Boars, maybe we can share the berries. I'm going to come across all 3 mountain ranges and take your berries, said Arno. Arno was entirely across the players. How about we set up trade, and you can have the berries, you need this additional indefinite source which you can have tax-free, and I need your white trees for fletching and wooden buildings investment, and it's wood, lots of things are needed with thus and investments into deforesting will be critical for everyone. Alright, let's trade, partner. I shall not doubt you interrupt the trading interests, just pretend we're all a family in corporation. I'll now unlock doubt-free alliance, which boosted it, but allowed beneficial alluring betrayal options and doubt-free trading archivement because this was his first trading. The
Man, I want
elves were
something to
investing
eat.
exponentially into woodcutting and population to get out of the fucking forest donut. I must allow for the same strong diplomacy with everyone, thought economist Archibald, going into magic head first. The hectare of rectangle berries fought off from 3 people were lucrative, allowed him to take into mage vegetarians who are always right option. James sent knee-deep peace-loving farmers who got tremendously bored picking bucket of berries after a year, and he invested into population.
Yo, alright. I didn't play Smite yesterday. Besides, I'm gonna play Smite today. I'm gonna play Smite right now. You're welcome to watch. You're gonna restart the internet, but it's on this channel still in 1 minute or a few seconds. Gonna have to stop streaming to YouTube, gonna stream to Twitch instead and Kick. Thank you so much. Have a nice time.